Yes. We be live. We be live. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Hi.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. It's good to be back.
Yes, Susie. We didn't have Susie for 2 weeks. That's too long not having Susie. But Susie, you feel rested? You feel better?
Yes,
Good.
I just needed a little break, little vacation, and now I feel better.
Yes, yes. People were ready to tear this whole place apart. Like they came to my PMs. People were messaging like, "Where's Susie? Like, what the hell are we supposed to like? We're gonna revolt against this whole your republic that you. It's a nice republic you have there. It would be ashamed if we just burned everything to the ground. If if we're not gonna have Susie."
It goes to show
Oh
that
yeah.
I am the true dear leader. I'm the
Yes.
real dear
Yes.
leader. I allow
Yes,
Armin to
yes.
have the appearance of power because I'm so gracious.
I don't think the appearance is even there anymore. Oh, look at this. People are happy
Hi,
you're
everyone.
here.
Good to be here. I'm excited. We're going to have a good show today. I am excited. There's
Yeah.
some juicy stuff we got to cover. Yeah. And I'm most excited because we're going to cover a lot of good stuff, but the last story I have today, which was in Imam giving a sermon in the US, is, on this channel, we love to cultivate and present to our audience a fine and tasteful curation of Shia cope. And I have procured a juicy selection of Shia cope for you guys today. So I'm excited.
We
about
have
that.
Shia cope today. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Good one.
Wait, yeah. Oh, I have to get that Monty Python sketch ready. Well, okay, while you're doing the first story, I will make sure that I have the Monty Python sketch ready for whenever we have Shia cope. What are we covering today? What countries? What kind of stories? What religion?
We're covering a lot of stuff in the West today. So we got a story in Canada and the UK, which focuses these focus more on basically kind of like Sharia agendas in those countries on the local level. And then I thought it'd be very interesting to go over some reactions from Arab intellectuals and scholars in their reaction to Hamas claiming victory.
Oh.
Because I know you did a stream about, Hamas's victory, but I think it's also important to highlight
victory.
Important to highlight other Arab, speakers and scholars and how they're calling bull. And then we're going to talk about a very controversial person in Iran. And this controversial person in Iran may or may not be sentenced to death. There's conflicting evidence, conflicting reports.
There's disagreements. And there are disagreements whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, even among people who are not religious, they're not certain if this is a good thing or a bad thing. So we're going to talk about that, and it's very, very interesting.
And maybe should we have a poll regarding that when we get to we should ask the live chat. Are they for or against a death sentence for this guy? And we'll see what you guys think. Would you agree with me and Susie or not? Okay. And I don't know if we should tell them our position before we ask them or if we should not. Like, I don't know. Well, we'll get there.
Hello, people of the Republic. Hello, Zaid, Habibi. Missed you guys. Iran is saying, I'm still afraid of Susanna after she got mad on the ex-Muslim attack in Germany. Okay, here's the thing. I keep it, under wraps, and I just let it out when necessary. My Susie rants have become a little legendary, and people like them until it's directed towards them. So is there anything else we need to cover before we dive in?
No, and everything is Islam today, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. Did we get any start comments? Okay, yeah, you already responded to this, so I'm going to remove the start comments, guys. In between the stories, we are going to be responding to the super chats and start comments. And remember, guys, becoming a member and the super chats help us continue what we're doing. We have expenses, but if you want to become a member or do super chats, please only do so if you are financially secure. Otherwise, do not even think about it and just support us, but only by liking the stream and leaving comments and recommending the channel and stuff like that, right? So yeah, but super chats, memberships, we need your support. So if you're financially secure, please consider supporting us, and we will read the super chats in between the news items. So first news, clappable? Yes, I think it's very clappable. It's a good news.
Yes,
we have
100%.
good news. Yes, great. All right, so wait, let me actually see if I... First news.
Canada stops Sharia agenda. Islamist Caliphate plans exposed. Okay, so this is interesting, guys. This is not like, oh, we're going to call these people an Islamist, blah, blah, blah. No, this is like these people themselves they're like full-blown self-identified Islamists. So Hizb Tahrir's plans to host a secretive pro-caliphate conference in Ontario unraveled under intense scrutiny, exposing the group's radical agenda. The organization, which operates globally to push for an Islamic caliphate governed by Sharia law, has titled this year's event the Khilafah, eliminating the obstacles that are delaying its return. Promoting the caliphate as a solution to liberate Palestine and portraying the West as the enemies of Islam, the group's materials glorified past Islamic empires while stoking division. Following public outrage, Hizb Tahrir canceled the event, deleting its promotional content, scrubbing its social media, and retreating into damage control. Despite their denials, the group has been widely condemned for supporting banned organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah, with the Canadian Public Safety Minister David McGuinty highlighting their history of glorifying violence and promoting anti-Semitism, adding that their ideology is a direct affront to Canadian values. So this is rather interesting. So I don't know if people know who Hizb Tahrir is. My understanding about the origins of Hizb Tahrir is that they were a breakaway from the Muslim Brotherhood when the Muslim Brotherhood started to work with Arab secularists. So I think it was maybe in Egypt for some governmental purposes or whatever, political purposes, which means that these people are too Islamist for the Muslim Brotherhood. So this is very interesting because, Armin and I actually who have friends who were part of Hizb Tahrir. Probably one of the most famous former members of Hizb Tahrir is Majid Nawaz. And at some point, they were possibly one of the largest Islamist organizations in the world. And they still have, I don't know, reportedly millions of followers around the world. I don't know how popular they actually are. They are banned in countries like Pakistan, in Saudi Arabia. They are outlawed in Germany. They were outlawed in the UK last year, and we covered that. And after they were banned in the UK last year, the Canadian version of the organization actually canceled their event that they were supposed to have last year, I think to avoid the optics and the increased scrutiny that was coming from them being banned in the UK. Now, in the UK, they were banned, and the UK was known as like the European headquarters of HT, or we call it HT for short. But now they're not allowed to, operate there. There are people saying that they still operate there, just under the guise of other Dawa organizations. And now in Canada, they were planning to have an annual conference, which was reportedly supposed to be free and open to the public. And they, very interestingly, again, they deleted a lot of their promotional materials for this event. But based on the reporting I was seeing from this, people were saying that in a lot of their promotional materials, they were using the imagery of Gaza and the grievance and the disenfranchisement of Canadian Muslims regarding the issue of Gaza and Palestine to try to recruit more people to come to the conference this year. Which is, I mean, a classic tactic for Islamists of all stripes and colors around the world. You know, we talk a lot about how the Palestinian cause is part of the, you know, Shia playbook a lot. And so I wanted to talk about some of the materials that they were promoting this year. Interestingly, you know, they got everything canceled. They had different mayors of Mississauga and Ontario speaking out against this event, and there was too much, you know, eyeballs on it, so it got canceled. But they still operate in Canada. And so because of this, there have been calls to make sure that it gets banned in Canada. Which my understanding is that there is some like process and possibility for that to happen versus, you know, HT actually operates in America as well. Apparently they have done conferences in Chicago. And I've heard from other professionals in this field that it would be actually much more difficult to get them banned in the US. But my understanding is that there is some possibility for them to do that in Canada. But Armin, I want to read for you part of a social media post that was made to promote this conference in 2025. And you are immediately going to sense some themes. You're going to identify some themes and patterns, okay? And I want you to explain to the audience what's going on here. You're going to immediately pick up on this. So here's a post they made. Every time they invade our lands, colonialist powers like America will show off their military technology, vast numbers, and giant economies. Each time they fought us, it seemed as if they could control the skies, strike from anywhere, destroy cities, and more. ... Yet, is America really so powerful that our Ummah can't defeat it? There have been superpower states in the past too, like the Romans and the Persians, yet they were defeated by the Ummah. Their great cities, like Constantinople, are now Muslim cities. So what happened? Did those old empires lose to the Ummah? The Ummah at that time had the support of Allah. Being the creator, no power on earth, including empires, can stand against the might of Allah. He allowed his slaves in the Khilafah Rashida to defeat two superpowers at the same time and with less wealth and smaller armies. So what must the Ummah do to get Allah's support once again? What steps do we need to become victorious against today's colonialist superpowers? We'll answer these questions and more at our upcoming Khilafah conference. Learn what it will take for our Ummah to overcome America, Europe, Russia, and China, and others from the position we're in today. If you want to help create real change in our Ummah, then get this critical knowledge by attending, inshallah.
Okay. So they are anti-colonialists who are saying, how can we go back to being the colonizers? That's the first thing I noticed, to be honest. Because they are saying they're at war with these colonialists, but this is pure hypocrisy, while at the same time acknowledging and celebrating the time that they were the colonialists, and they want to go back to doing that, which is basically means it's wrong for America, for these Western powers to be the colonialists, but it was good for, and they actually don't see that as a hypocrisy. Like they were like, yes, that's what we're saying. But the difference is that we are right to do it because we have Allah on our side. Do you notice, like from the beginning to end, they're saying like, oh, what they are calling the Western powers evil for being the colonialists, which are they're not even colonialists at all right now, but let's say they are. But at the same time, saying, what can we do for us to be doing that? I don't know if that's what you want to go for, but that was the first thing I noticed because they're condemning colonialism as long as it's Western, at the same time celebrating it if it's Islamic. Did you notice that? Was that the first thing that came to your mind when you read that?
I didn't notice that, but that's not the first thing that came to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind is the theme of winning the favor of Allah and being outside the favor of Allah, and that's why we're not winning.
That's the first thing I actually wrote down. But the second thing got me so pissed off that I wanted to talk about that first. But basically, this is the so that we have a Shia narrative and we have a Sunni narrative, and the Shia narrative recently has gotten closer to the Sunni narrative, and the Sunni narrative sometimes gets closer to the Shia narrative. But the traditional Sunni narrative is that we were victorious. Originally, we managed to create the Islamic Empire because we were being closer to Allah because we were living Islamic lives, right? So we have a philosophy. This is actually a huge infighting between Sunnis as well, right? There are some people who are called Madkhalis who are like, oh, you don't actually bring back the Islamic Empire by winning in battle. Forget being political. We will bring back the Ummah, our empire, by becoming more faithful people, and becoming better Muslims. Yeah. And just just obeying Allah, and Allah will see how good we are, and He will just give us the empire. And some Muslims hate that because they're like, this is basic. And Saudi Arabia, for example, loves that narrative because it will convince Muslims to just do nothing political and just go home and be proper Muslims and just don't do terrorism, don't be political, just go home, be proper Muslims, and Allah will see that you have faith and just make everything right. And there are other people from the other side that they think that no, we should actually be doing political. Hizb ut-Tahrir is like wants both. Hizb ut-Tahrir is like, we have to do these activities to bring these people down, but we will never be successful until we actually become proper Muslims, because the reason why we had an empire before is because we were closer to Allah. So we have to go back to our base, right? We're powerful because we are proper Muslims, which is weird because if you actually look at the history of the Abbasid and Umayyad dynasties, it wasn't like that. Like throughout the history, it wasn't like everybody was a proper Muslim back then. It was a huge up and down, right? Like many of the caliphs didn't abide by Islam themselves. If you actually look at their history, some of them did, some of them didn't. So it's not like it was all the same. But the Shia narrative is the opposite. It used to be the opposite. The Shia narrative is God is with the people who are being oppressed, right? So Sunni narrative is because the earliest Islamic history, Sunnis were very powerful and the Shias were constantly being oppressed by the Sunnis. So the Sunnis came to the narrative that God is with those who are winning. But the Shia narrative is that God is with those who are actually losing, the ones who are being oppressed. Because all their imams were being poisoned and killed and everything. So they're like, we must be on the right side. Look how oppressed we are. And the Sunnis were like, we must be on the right side. Look at how much we're winning, right? So the Sunnis right now, for example, like Hizb ut-Tahrir being Sunni, they're like, oh, we're losing because God, we have become distant from God. Like we're not properly Islamic, right? And some Sunnis, for example, Dani Hayraju types of the world, don't really like the emphasis on that because it seems to be used by people who call Madkhalis or Zionist fake Muslims or Zionist Muslims who try to convince Muslims through religious arguments to not do political activity, right? That's what they say. That's not their narrative, not mine, right? And a few other things I noticed is that wanted to mention is, guys, Hizb ut-Tahrir is banned by so many in so many Islamic countries, right? So it's interesting how Canada got to the point, Western countries are banning Hizb ut-Tahrir after, like, Islamic countries consider these people to be too radical. They came to this conclusion before a country like Canada. I think they're already banned in Germany. Germany is very sensitive about Germany is very sensitive about anti-Semitism, and so these people were already banned there, right? But Canada, I mean, better late than never. But imagine this, like a group that Egypt or Pakistan considers too radical Islamically, and ban them. Canada only have gotten to the point where to do it right now. And
no,
also,
Canada hasn't even banned them yet. They're not banned.
Okay, yeah, they're
There's
talking
just
about
people putting
them.
pressure on it now because this kind of like raised the issue again.
Yeah, good point. This event that you're talking about, that you mentioned about what this was about, they're talking about bringing a caliphate. That's actively talking about toppling the regime. Like, this isn't the event that you're talking about. Like, if these people have events in Canada, in United States, or in UK, they're getting together as Canadian citizens, as American citizens, as UK citizens, coming with a plan to how to topple the regimes that they're in. And this is not something that they like are hiding. Like, this is not something that they are secretly they tell you, like, we are basically trying to destroy this regime and make this part of the Islamic world, like the Canadian world. That's what they're saying. So that is that not like, what is that not treason? Like, what is that? Like, I don't know, what is that called? Like, legally, shouldn't that already be like already ban worthy? Like, why does it take
I don't know what kind of statute that is in Canada, to be honest. I'm not familiar with your
having an institution to try to bring down the regime, like, why is that even a discussion? Like, that is treason. That should be illegal, right?
I don't know. In America, we got lots of people talking about that. That's not illegal at all.
Yeah. I know. By the way, guys, regarding free speech, because a lot of people are going to say, what about free speech, right? And there's a right. I support to ban this institution completely and shut them down and label them as a terrorist organization and seize all their funds, and also consider any support for this organization to be like a criminal activity. I support all of that. And I consider myself a free speech maximalist. And some people will say, how could you be a free speech maximalist and also support banning this institution, shutting them down, seizing their assets? Does that not violate their free speech? And there's two ways that people defend this, and there's a wrong way, in my opinion, and there's a correct way. The wrong way that people defend this action is that people say, this is one area that I'm okay with limiting these people's free speech. I don't agree that that's not the right way of defending this. The right way is that free speech does not mean that you have the luxury, that you get the privilege of having an institution that is backed by the government, and the structure and the legal structure of the government, and the framework that the government provides for you to fund, organize. That is a privilege. That's not a right that the government gives you, for you to be able to take advantage of its infrastructure, of its legal system, of its charitable status, of its tax. Your institution being shut down is not a violation of your free speech. You raising money and support for terrorist activities and trying to topple the regime and anti-Semitic activity, if that entire infrastructure is taken away from you, your opinion and your expression of it as an individual has not been taken away from you. I think a lot of people who say, like, yeah, free speech is good, but not for these people, and that's why I support this, they don't understand what free speech means. Free speech does not mean that because you every opinion gets to enjoy every platform that this government, that this society has provided for people, should be available to you. Free speech means that I'm not going to come and torture you, because you have think in a way, I'm not going to come arrest you, I'm not going to come execute you, I'm not going to go send a mob against you. That's what free speech means. Everything else, that institution, that infrastructure, the funding ability, all of that is extra, and that's a privilege that you don't get to enjoy if you're trying to take down this entire framework that everyone is enjoying. That's how you defend these types of action. Not to go against free speech or not to limit free speech for certain individuals, but to say this is not a violation of your free speech, or if you say this is a violation of your free speech, you don't understand free speech. That's how I would defend it.
Yeah, I think one thing I think about a lot is that a lot of misunderstanding that people have is this idea that all Islamism is violent Islamism. And so when they see people talking about like a caliphate or other things, like they they have this totally misconstrued idea that there are moderate Islamists. Like the idea of a moderate Islamist, I've like literally seen that word used, is insane to me. Because we are so, what's the word I'm looking for? We have become so used to people trying to explode us and attack us and terrorize us that if we see Muslims not promoting violence explicitly, we think that's a moderate. We think that they're a moderate just because they're not trying to attack people violently. Okay? That's the level that we're at. That's how low our expectations are. When really, there are many, many, many groups, many ideologies that are Islamist, that promote political Islam. They just do not promote it through violent means explicitly. And Hizb Tahrir is one of those organizations where they publicly disavow violence and the use of violence and material means to establish a caliphate. However, they do validate jihad as bringing Islam's message to the world. And they have praised and celebrated and endorsed suicide bombings or attacks on US forces. So a lot of politicians make the mistake that they think just because a Muslim leader isn't calling for violence, they think that they're actually a moderate and they think that they're actually one of the good ones. And they don't know about like everything else underneath. And this is why we constantly deal with scenarios where what almost happened at the inauguration, where there are imams that are invited to give a benediction or give a prayer to like represent the Muslim community. And then it's exposed that this imam has like endorsed all these really violent things or endorsed terrorist groups or endorsed all this other stuff. They're like, why can't we find an imam that doesn't praise Hezbollah? What's going on here? Like, well, duh. So I just think that that's like important to highlight. Is a lot of people make this mistake that they're like, oh, nonviolent, they must be moderate, blah blah blah.
And they make that mistake only when it comes to Islam, because based on that standard, then there's like the people that they call extremist Christian groups or extremist Jewish groups. Many of those groups would not be extremists at all, based on if they use the way that they categorize what they call an Islamic extremist group, right? So they're like, oh, this Islamic group is not extremist because it's not doing any violence. But if you find a Christian group or a Jewish group that was saying had the exact same position, they would definitely label it as an extremist group, even without the violence. So it's a double standard when it comes to Christian groups or Jewish groups relevant to Islamic groups.
Well, I mean, it's a double standard. It's also like I think it speaks to how low expectations are and also how bad our experience has been as a society, that like is genuinely like what we expect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have a video that was that relevant to the story?
Should yeah. So let's go through the comments that our lovely editor D found. Let's go through the comments, and then one of the things that she found was this video, and then so this is I don't know if Goldie Gamari is a current MP or not, but she was like commenting on this. I mean, like, this can't be real. Is this true? Yes. Well, I got shut down, which is good, but yeah, that's a real thing. Okay. So the Global Imams Council, the GIC, has submitted an urgent letter to Public Safety Canada calling for the prevention of the upcoming Caliphate conference organized by the extremist group Hizb Tahrir. So, okay, great. This is a local imam organization calling them out, asking them to be prevented. So that's nice. And then I think that, so the next one is this video. So
the Muslim.
Whoops.
Hold on. I'll unmute. Oh, you can unmute it. Okay, great. You have that control now. Okay, so you do it.
So
go ahead.
This guy is basically the face of Hizb Tahrir in Canada. We don't have to watch this whole thing, but I just thought that this is kind of some interesting. Just you'll notice some themes that Armin and I were talking about that become very obvious when he talks.
After Bismillah, this is a call to the armies of the Muslim lands. We know with almost 100% certainty that within the ranks of the armies right now, throughout the Muslim lands, there is unseen frustration and struggle to maintain order within the ranks, unlike anything that we've ever seen before. You within the ranks of the armies in the Muslim lands know how much this is happening. We all know how much you're struggling with the fact that you're sitting there, unable to move forward and liberate the Muslims of Palestine. We know how angry you are at the fact that the governments of the Muslim lands are holding you back and disallowing you from protecting your Muslim brothers. You know as well as we do the ayah in the Quran where Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَإِنِ اسْتَنْصَرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ. If they call out for you for help, for military assistance, then you must go give them military assistance. This is your
Wait. Before we play the rest, do you understand why Hizb Tahrir now is banned in Islamic countries?
I was about to say that.
Okay.
I wonder why they're banned in Saudi.
Yeah. And remember, these Islamic countries, their governments, they have no chill. This is not like Western countries. They don't play. They will torture you. Okay, like this guy is calling for armed forces of Islamic countries to turn against their own government because their government is not allowing them to be just genuine terrorists.
An insurgency. Okay, a mutiny. Okay.
Yeah. Wow, this is why these people are banned in Islamic countries.
Yeah. Why does HT hate Saudi so much? I wonder.
Yeah. No, the question is like, this is why Saudis and Pakistanis and Egyptian governments hate that Hizb Tahrir so much. Yeah, but let's continue.
Dini fa'alaykum al-nasr. If they call out for you for help, for military assistance, then you must go give them military assistance. This is your chance to become the Ansar of this age. This is your chance to gain the honor and the dignity of being the liberators of the land of Al-Aqsa and to defend the blood of your Muslims. This is the struggle that will change all other struggles, that will define all other struggles. I call upon all the Muslims in the armies in the Muslim lands to break free of the shackles that are holding you back from assisting your Muslim brothers and sisters and coming to the call of your Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, another reason why it might make it easy for Western countries to ban these mofos is because there would be Muslim countries that will give you the non-Islamophobia card if you need it. You know what I mean? Like you will have, because the leaders of Islamic countries, they're like, this man is going and encouraging our armed forces to turn against us. And maybe if you're Canada or the UK, like, should I consider these people terrorists? Is that Islamophobic? And Saudi Arabia and Malaysia and Indonesia and Pakistan and Egypt will come like, no, it's not. we will tell the world you're not being Islamophobic. Please ban these people. So that's one reason why it makes it easier for these people to ban, for Western countries to ban them. Okay,
this is the time to break away from the ranks. This is the time to rebel against your leaders. This is the time to overthrow your government. This is the time to bring about change, the change that everyone is dying for.
This is the time to overthrow your governments.
Wow, this is just like they're not even like, this is the time to overthrow your government. Like, there's no attempt at hiding. Yeah, this is how you get banned.
And no, and this is why I appreciate the honesty. He's not lying. He's not using wordplay. He just comes out and say it.
Yeah.
He just comes out and say it. Okay.
When the Muslims are calling out free Palestine in the streets, they're not talking to the West. The West is not going to free Palestine. Egypt is not going to free Palestine. Jordan is not going to free Palestine. Erdogan is not going to free Palestine. Mohammed bin Salman is not going to free Palestine. None of these traitors.
Wait. Hold on. Jordan, you ungrateful. Okay, you know why Jordan is not going to free Palestine? Because Jordan regrets the day that it started helping Palestinians. I think there's more anti-Palestinian hate in Jordan, Lebanon, and many other countries than maybe sometimes maybe even more than in Israel, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I mean Jordan. Okay, so here's the thing: Jordan is a country who, when Palestinians were struggling, opened its doors to the Palestinians, and they came to there. And instead of being grateful to the country, they were like, what if we topple this regime? And Jordan were like, what the hell? I just gave you people a place to live and to come while you figure out how you could take back your land. And now you're trying to topple me? So Jordan was like, you know what? F you guys. I am going to secretly be on Israel's side. So I wonder why Jordan is not supporting Palestinians. Maybe because they have a very bad experience with that. I mean, everywhere. Like, okay, I don't want to generalize Palestinians. Okay, Zaid is in the chat. He's a Palestinian. We love Zaid. He's a Zionist Palestinian. That's why we love him. But throughout history, there are very few people who decided to go out support Palestinians and did not end up regretting it. Right? That's why all these Islamic governments are like, yeah, no, we're not going to go there anymore because they were ungrateful and they turned on them eventually. But
meanwhile, Trump is asking them to go take in the Palestinians. Did you see that? And I was like, yeah. Ooh, my boy, you don't know the history. That ain't gonna happen. Why do you think they haven't done it so far?
I don't know. Maybe because actually we could talk about that because they didn't have international support. And Trump might change that. Did you see Trump just came out and said like Jordan and Egypt should just take in the Palestinians?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, and Israel should just take over Gaza. It's just like, it's a very good, like he keeps talking about how good land the Gaza is. So anyways, that's another stream. We should talk about that.
He is a real estate mogul.
I mean, technically, it is amazing land. Gaza is like beachfront property. It's like if it wasn't the nightmare that it is right now, this would be a very good place to build a city on. But anyways, let's continue.
Not going to free Palestine. Erdogan is not going to free Palestine. Mohammed bin Salman is not going to free Palestine. None of these traitors, these sellouts who have sat there watching their Muslim brothers.
Yeah, the sellouts. These sellouts who are thinking more about their own country and what's better for their own citizens, as the regime of every country should be doing, rather than defending a hopeless battle that you will never see victory and just sending their resources of their own people towards an unwinnable war. Sure, yeah, these are the traitors. Okay.
Not going to free Palestine. Erdogan is not going to free Palestine. Mohammed bin Salman is not going to free Palestine. None of these traitors, these sellouts who have sat there watching their Muslim brothers and sisters and the children die in the thousands and they're doing absolutely nothing about it. None of them are going to come and free Palestine. But you will. The Muslim Ummah will. The people who are going to free and liberate Palestine will be the sincere Muslims of this Ummah, and they will be given the honor in the dunya and in the akhirah for playing a role in this. You have an opportunity of
dunya, the dunya means this world, akhirah means the afterlife. So the honor of dunya and akhirah. Guys, really important for you guys to understand dunya and akhirah, because that's the whole, that concept makes Islam a deaf cult. That's the reason why Islam is a deaf cult. So remember, dunya is this world life, means the world. Akhirah is the afterlife.
Will be the sincere Muslims of this ummah, and they will be given the honor in the dunya and in the akhirah for playing a role in this. You have an opportunity of a lifetime. It is time that we understand that the people of Palestine have no one else other than you, the military of the Muslims. Allah Azza wa Jal is not going to bring a miracle out of the sky to liberate Palestine. Allah Azza wa Jal is teaching us that we have to do it ourselves, and nobody's going to come and help Palestine. Nobody except for you. And I call on all Muslims who have watched this video to make a video just like it. It doesn't matter if you're not articulate. It doesn't matter if you don't know what to say. It doesn't matter if you've never made a video before. Make a video saying the same thing. Let the armies of the Muslim lands know we all stand with the armies of the Ummah. We all stand with the people of Palestine.
I mean, you tried that. The armies of 6 countries at the same time attacked Israel when Israel was significantly weaker than it is today. And Israel, with a smaller army back then, humiliated all the armies of 6 nations at the same freaking time. Twice. Actually, no, 3 times. 3 times. And one of them being close, one of them being at the time that it was 1 day old. 1 day old. And then humiliated all your armies at the same time. So
dude,
what if you fail?
Ego.
Is this
Talk
not insanity, guys?
Pride and your honor.
Yes, you tried, you failed, you tried, you failed, you tried, you failed. If you try again, you're going to fail again, especially because relative to then, you're weaker to Israel's army now. I mean, if Israel even back then even didn't enjoy as much support as it enjoys now, its army wasn't as advanced as guys. The previous times when you attacked Israel, do you know, even though Israel won, you managed to hit cause a lot more damage to Israel, much more significant. Like these days, people are like, oh my God, another Israeli soldiers died. Back then, when you attack Israel, you took down so many of their planes. You took down so many of their pilots, you know, their best pilots. These days, you can't even take a picture. Guys, show me when Israel comes with their planes and bombs whatever it needs to bomb. You not only you can't hit it with a missile, you don't even have a single picture of it. You can't even see the damn thing. You used to be able to take them down. So if you failed back then when you were stronger, what makes you think that now? So these armies united, you have already had that. You had that. Maybe the reason why they're not trying it anymore because they know that they understand their place. They know that cannot be done. It cannot be done. And you're not fighting Israel. If you even get close to taking down Israel, the entire liberal world would unite against you. Back then, you couldn't even defeat Israel. Now, if you want to defeat Israel, you're standing up against the entire liberal world order, including
Armin,
the world superpower.
This is actually an important point. This is why they say that they need a caliphate, because they do not have the favor of Allah, because they do not have a caliphate. They are not following the Sharia. That's why they say they need it. That's the whole point. That's why they're so hard on why they're so focused on the fiqh, the Shia, the Sharia before anything else. Because they need back the favor of Allah. You're right.
Actually, I completely endorse this, Mrs. You're completely right. So forget this nonsense. Go home and pray harder. Okay, pray so hard until you become proper Muslims and God.
No, but that's not enough. That's not enough for them. They need, especially for HT, they need the caliphate. They need the fiqh. They need the Sharia. They need the implementation. It's not enough for them to have Aqidah. Right. Like they were so focused on the law, like that having a caliphate will solve all their problems.
So this shows so guys, the reason, for example, if you're a UK citizen, if you see why these people are so hell-bent to have their own parallel legal system and to have these Sharia councils, which are actually courts, but we're
going to talk about that actually today.
So this is the reason why they want to establish Sharia law in Canada or in the UK at some point, is because they think if they do that, God will eventually make them powerful, right? So that's why you see them so insistent, because they have to live according to the Sharia. And by the way, Sharia is not just law, it's just everything, right? So I don't know, how you wipe your ass is also considered to be part of Sharia. It's basically how you do everything, including the law. So they have to abide by Sharia, and if they do that, and they try to expand Sharia compliant lands, then God will see favor to them and make them powerful. That's their plan. So yeah, I mean, it's a dumb plan, but it's really devastating to countries
But
like
it is
the
a
UK
plan.
because it is a plan. Yeah. Anyways, let's finish this. This is actually very insightful, so thank you for this video.
Call everybody to start a campaign to make videos where we call the armies of the Muslim lands to do something. This is what we must do. Going out into the streets and calling out to who are we even calling out to? We're not calling out to anybody. We're just calling out. So why don't we do something practical? Why don't we do something real? Make videos where we speak to the armies of the Muslim lands, because who are the members of these armies? The members of these armies are our brothers and our uncles and our fathers and our family. These are Muslims who are from us, of us. Once these armies break free of these shackles, then change will happen. Only through this will change happen. We must unite the armies of the Muslim lands under a single Khalifa that will implement Islam and earn the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the victory of Allah Azza wa Jal will come through this. If we seek it.
Is that not literally what I just said?
That's literally what you just said.
Through any other way, through nationalistic solutions, or UN resolutions, or international law, or begging the West for scraps of mercy, or begging the Arab tyrants and enemies of Allah for scraps of mercy, which they will never give us, then we're simply waiting for nothing. Only through the Khilafah will Allah Azza wa Jal save us. Make the video now. And again, to the armies of the Muslim lands, be the Ansar of this age.
I am inviting my Muslim brothers to make videos about this so they too can end up banned from the UAE. Go try this in the Emirates. It's not going to go over well.
I mean, technically, this is not that bad if he wants to, because what do you think is going to happen? First of all, like, if let's say you're an Egyptian soldier and you watch this, right? And they're like, okay, I'm convinced. What are you going to do? You're going to take your, I don't know, AK-47 and do what? Your commander is not going to agree with this, right? Your general is like you are what, like, you don't have the info. Even if you want to go do this, you're going to leave the army and then your income is going to be cut. You can't feed your family. Where is the infrastructure? Where is the institution or infrastructure in place for you to come join? You as an individual, the only power you have is because you're part of a standing army, and that standing army is not going to come join you because the commanders you have, like the individual soldiers agreeing with you, it's not going to change anything.
But
it's the generals. Yeah, how are you going to do that? Like, if you're going to start a coup, that like they're not just going to leave the country and try to come and liberate Palestine without, like, if the rest of the country is going to say, like, yeah, you can't do that. You first have to do a coup. And if you want to do a coup, you're going to be crushed. Right? You're going to be crushed. Like, so how is that even, like, this plan seems insane. Like, it doesn't work. But actually, this plan might actually work in our favor. Because if people actually listen to it, because the soldiers are not going to listen to him. And even if they do, they're not going to be able to do anything because the army of the country is not going to come follow them. Right? And they're going to be shut down. Like, they're going to be, I mean, again, those armies are like in Egypt. There's people in Turkey and in Egypt. The government there has no chill. If you see a soldier saying, like, yeah, I disagree, I'm going to pick my gun and go do something that the regime does not agree with, you're going to be immediately eliminated. But, like, it's not like a liberal country. They're going to fucking destroy you and maybe your family. Like, I don't know what they're going to do. Right? But it's not like that. You cannot. But these videos, however, if they get circulated on social media, they might actually serve us as a tool to warn the world, like, look at what the hell these people stand for. So I don't know, maybe this guy's video, if people actually do, the soldiers are not going to listen to him, but social media might listen to him and make a lot of these videos, and that would actually serve our purpose.
Yeah. Well, and this is why we say that they do our work for us, Armin. Yeah, they do our work for us. Right. All we have to do is to go show you guys. This is like when the fires in LA were like at their worst, and social media was filled with people, Muslims praising it and celebrating it and saying free Palestine. This isn't as bad as Gaza, blah blah blah. In the thousands all across TikTok, all across Instagram, to the point that people are like, you guys do more bad PR for yourselves than an Islamophobe could ever do. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know how you look right now? Like,
the only downside to this is that we can't, like, it makes it difficult for us here to make jokes about raising the Atheist Republic army, because given that people are actually on social media genuinely are trying to raise a real army for their caliphate, then social media might become sensitive about that, and we cannot joke about that anymore. Okay. We have to be careful. For YouTube, when we were talking about raising an Atheist Republic army, those were jokes. We were not serious about that. Okay, that's not real. Okay, so we were even trying to use, like, maybe shifting our memberships into like army names, like for example, the Lord here to be like a foot soldier, and then have like a general at the Atheist Republic army. And then we realized, look, some people are not going to see that as a joke. So we were basically like, nope, we're not going to do that.
We memed a little too close to the sun.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that's fine.
So let's go to the super chats. So we should go through these because you're already an hour in and we got a lot of stuff to go through.
Yeah, and we got so many super chats, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So Aaron just gave a super chat saying love from Israel. Well, thank you, my friend. Love back to you. Also from Israel, Gingasaurus gave us some shekels and a super sticker. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Valerie has a question for me. Thank you for the super chat and supporting the show. Saying, question for Susanna. Oh, and also Valerie is a member. Awesome. Is there an Antifa version of Taqiyya infiltrating to leak, or are they like vegans and never shut up about it? Okay, so first thing, and I'll keep this brief for people that don't know, like I was in Antifa. So basically, Antifa is not a centralized thing. Antifa is hardly a consistent ideology. In some senses, Antifa could more accurately be described as a tactic. There is more consistency with philosophy like anarchism, for example. In my time involved in these groups, there is extreme diversity between opinions. There's an insane amount of disagreement between groups and different individuals, partially because everyone is just extremely dysfunctional individuals with their personality disorders on full display. But so there is not a doctrine, there is not a single ideology, there's not a singular scripture or text. It's all very diffuse and purposefully decentralized. So no, there is no Antifa version of Taqiyya. Maybe if you were part of one specific group that maybe had an anarchist ideology of its own sense, and you were operating within a specific cell within this group, then they might have their own specific ideology. They might have their own specific tactics. They might have their own specific operations to do infiltration. But that would be particular to that group. So no, to answer your question, no. Yeah, like I'm thinking of something like the Weather Underground, you know, like that was a specific group that undertook terrorism, you know what I mean? And they had crossover and overarching other beliefs. Yeah. So I hope that answered your question. I'm not sure if I was clear. Enye gave a bunch of Swedish krona. Thank you so much. How generous. Saying Iranian and Jewish couple hanging out here. Oh, hello, my friends. We love you youngsters.
Hello.
Amazing work. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the show. Yes. And Gasian American gave a super chat saying, the Ummah drapes Chinese silk on their Kaaba. They are addicted to chai and soccer, invented by the Yellow Emperor commemorating his victory over Qiyu. I mean, well, thank you for pointing this out, Gasian, and I hope that our brothers and sisters in the Ummah, you know, find themselves upon the right path once more. because this is
this reminds me. Did you hear Saudi Arabia is coming up with a new national anthem, and they're hiring Hans Zimmer to make it for them?
Really?
Yeah, and people are like, "How is your national anthem not being made by Saudi?
Yeah.
Like your national anthem is going to be made by you guys? Like the Saudis are so Westernized, like they're so they're so Western. Like people are be like, oh, this shows how Western these people are, that not even in their own national anthem is going to be made by somebody, and this so the people who are defending it is like, yeah, the Saudis just want the best of the best of the best. They don't care.
I was gonna say,
but they go, yeah.
Apparently, the current national anthem was written by an Egyptian composer at the request of the king.
Oh, yeah. So now it's leaving the Ummah as a whole, going to Americans.
Okay, so Gaijin gave another super chat. Also, Happy New Year. Is it already Chinese New Year?
It wasn't it?
Oh, no, it almost is. Okay, cool. I have time to go to some festivals. Gaijin is saying also Happy New Year. It's been 4,723 years since Noah stepped up her goddessy mended heaven and ended the Great Flood after... Okay, how do I pronounce this? Yalal's genocide hissy fit. Well, that sounds like something worth celebrating to me. Also, I need to go find where I can go watch a lion dance, okay, in my city. Mithras gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you so much, Mithras.
Yay.
Which is a great reminder to support the show by becoming a member. Do that by hitting the join button down below. You get members only content. You support our work. Make sure we can continue, and you get emojis.
No, I and also if you just got to get membership gift, go check out the member only streams and video that I make. Because only our members have access to that. So go check them out before you lose your, because I think you have these gifts for 1 month. So go watch those.
Asian American is asking for our thoughts on the Yahtzee. Okay, that's the word we use. The Yahtzee hand gesture of Elon and the mass migrations of Americans to the Little Red Book, meaning like the Chinese Red Note app. They're typing 666 because it means thumbs up in Chinese slang. I didn't know that, but I like that. 666. It's not demonic. It's just thumbs up. Chinese thumbs up. Thoughts on the Nazi hand gesture? I don't think Elon was doing a Nazi salute. I think that's insane. And the immigration of Americans to the Red Note app. So far the content that I've seen seems pretty like adorable and cute. Like I love the cross-cultural exchange. It seems pretty wholesome in a lot of ways. I don't know if it will last. But the funniest thing to me was Americans talking about, like, look at their grocery prices that they're showing in this video. Look, they don't want us to download this app because they don't want us to see how much better life is, blah, blah, blah. Like in China, you can buy 7 pounds of corn for 69 cents. And here I buy 2 pounds for $7.99, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you guys even, they don't know what purchasing power is. They don't know what purchasing power is. Oh my God. So it's just, look, those kind of people, like, they just deserve to be propagandized too. It's okay. Yeah, those are my very loose and not very serious thoughts. What do you think, Armin?
Well, I don't know what's in people's minds when they do something, but it's very unlikely that Elon is a Nazi, given his record, given how much he went to war with MAGA over allowing Indians to come to the country. It's
because they are the true Aryans.
Oh yeah, okay.
See, so, you don't see 3 steps ahead like I do.
Yeah, okay.
No, but seriously, if Elon is a Nazi, then I guess nowadays Nazis go support Israeli kidnapping victims. They go meet with Netanyahu, and nowadays Nazis go visit the Auschwitz Memorial with Orthodox Jews. If that's what if that's what Nazis do nowadays, they're looking pretty different. That's all I'm saying.
Don't say what I know you're joking, but somebody might cut that part out and make it seem like you're saying something else. So don't finish that.
But I mean, come on.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Steve just gave a $1 super chat with no comment. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Bar Mustal gave a super chat saying also they did the same thing in Kuwait. I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about, Bar. Thank you for celebrating your membership. I think you're talking about Palestinians.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
I think that's what you were talking about. Or what you were referencing. Asian American gave another super chat and saying maybe the Palestinians can earn income living off UBI generated from the rents of beachfront property, a 40-60 split. Who's gonna have the beachfront property?
No, this is like you're thinking years. Like I think this is a joke because it's clearly way behind even thinking about such things for now.
Yeah. Okay, Aiden gave a super chat celebrating his member. Thank you. Oh, talking about the HT guy. He could have grown his hair and shaved his beard. I mean, his appearance is irrelevant. His appearance is completely irrelevant. I could care less.
Shave his
beard.
Beard.
Who cares if he's bald? Like, come on.
I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking like, shouldn't he grow out his beard if given the people he's trying to appeal to a little bit more? But again, so the appearance could be relevant Islamically. He didn't look
Kenny
very Islamic.
Also gifted 10 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you so much, Kenny. Oh, and I hope you're feeling better, Kenny. He was sick. Gajan, this super chat actually made me laugh so hard. The Caliphate has lost the mandate of heaven.
That's a good one. No, that's actually literally it. That's literally what they think, but they don't phrase it like that. But you're right. That's what they think. Yes.
You're onto something, Gajan. Yes. Okay, so let's go to the next news. This is pretty interesting.
Clappable?
Yes, because we're gonna talk about people roasting Hamas.
Okay. Next news. Hamas's victory mocked the truth about Gaza's devastation. After over a year After over a year of war that left Gaza in ruins, over 40,000 dead and millions displaced, Hamas declared their ceasefire with Israel a victory, sparking widespread outrage. Khalil al-Hayya, a senior Hamas official, claimed the conflict, which they dubbed the Al-Aqsa Flood, that was the operations on October 7th, was a triumph, hailing the October 7th attacks as a source of pride. However, many Arab journalists and commentators unleashed scathing critiques, branding Hamas's celebration as delusional and heartless. Saudi media figure Yahya al-Shabraki slammed al-Hayya, saying, quote, "If you see this spilled blood and destruction as a victory, I would like to know how you describe a defeat." I think about that all the time. If this is victory, then what does defeat look like? Others, like Saudi journalist Hussein al-Wadeh, argued that Hamas had only achieved a victory over the Palestinians, leaving their lives shattered and their cause in tatters. A mocking cartoon described al-Hayya as a snake coiled around Gaza's ruins, reflecting the betrayal many felt. Critics like Emirati scholar Abdul Khalek Abdullah called Hamas's surrender a final blow to the myth of resistance, accusing the group of serving Iran's agenda at the expense of Palestine's future. So
I don't know. Like I said earlier, I think that this is important to highlight because we see so many people in straight up delusional land regarding the ceasefire agreement. And I think it's important to highlight that there are many people that are not in the English speaking sphere that are not this delusional. So like when the agreement was signed, when was this? Back on the 15th? Zaid here was texting me, showing me all of the videos of all of the celebrations happening in his city. And I was texting him back, like losing my mind, going, how is this a victory? Like, I think I texted him. Yeah, I said, this is making me feel like I'm having a break from reality. Like, how am I in the wrong? How is this a victory? Am I losing my mind? Is this a me problem? But it turns out I'm not the only one that feels this way. And I think, like I said, it's important to show that not everyone is this delusional, because with everything I've been seeing all over social media, it made me realize that that the Sunnis actually have more of a victory of the ass over the sword mentality than I was previously aware of. That's what I learned. I learned that they have more of a Shia victory of the ass over the sword mentality than I understood. And so here are some quotes from these commentators calling out people that I thought was very salient. So here's one. Abd al-Hayyak Sinabi, a Moroccan security commentator, wrote, the Al Jazeera channel, which competes with Satan, the Al Jazeera channel, which competes with Satan, is trying to convince Arabs and Muslims that the martyrdom of over 70,000 Palestinians, the annihilation of Gaza, and the displacement of hundreds of thousands is a great and honorable victory. Oh, criminals, the people of Gaza are glad that the tragedy and bloodshed may be at an end, and their joy has nothing to do with victory. End quote. There was another one. And so there was Palestinian journalist Ayman Khalid shared a picture of Gaza in ruins and wrote, quote, what brings me to tears about the Palestinian arena is the claims of victory made by Hamas officials when they have wrought the greatest tragedy in history. Here's another one. Mohammed al-Hababi, a Saudi researcher of international relations, wrote, quote, after 466 days of war, destruction, and extermination, and after more than a million innocent civilians have been displaced, people who before the war had electricity, food, and water, and whose children went to school and shaped their future, today none of these things are available in Gaza. All of Hamas's leaders and fighters have been killed, yet there are still some who say, we won, and thank you, Iran. The resentment is dripping. There was one more that I really liked. Where was it? What I thought was very interesting was other commentators saying that the only victory that they have achieved is not victory over Israel. It's victory over the Palestinian people themselves. Yeah, another, what was the name of this guy? One second. Fad Dipaji. Dipaji shared a text of the ceasefire agreement and commented, the agreement aims to restore Gaza to what it was before October 7th, but without the 50,000 Palestinians who have been killed, with desolate land and empty buildings, without a liberation of Palestine, and without the victory that the Muslim Brotherhood and its contractor Hamas are trying to market. Yeah, Armin, what is your reaction and thoughts? It looks like you're looking for something.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts. I just wanted to make sure. So the idea of victory for Hamas, okay? So let's see what victory means. Victory let me know if this is a good definition or not. You had some objectives. You reached those objectives. Is that a good, simple definition for victory, guys? Right? So, first of all, they're calling it victory for, Operation Tufan or the Alexa flood. I mean, what does it look when some place is flooded and the devastation that it causes? What does that look like? If there was a flood, the flood came and took over Gaza, not Israel. Based on the imagery that we're seeing from Gaza, the target of the flood seemed to have been Gaza, not Israel. I mean, that look at it. Gaza looks like the flood, like somewhere that has been hit by disaster, not Israel. So yeah, sure, it was a flood, but it was directed on the wrong side, on the side that you guys were not intending. But anyways, what was the objective? The objective. So they changed the objective. There's two objectives for October 7th attack that we could identify based on the things that Hamas was saying when they did the attack. One is the full-on destruction of Israel and the apartheid, what they're saying, and also the so actually three. Let me actually see. Destruction of Israel, ending the land blockade, right, of Gaza, and three, which is the actual one, stopping the Abraham Accord, right? The Abraham Accord. So let's see, have you achieved any of that? Israel is still there and is stronger than ever. So objective one was not achieved. Objective two, we went from Israel surrounding Gaza and having a blockade around Gaza to Israel being inside Gaza. So objective number two, not only was it not achieved, it actually got worse for you. So you were trying to stop the blockade. Now you're claiming victory because Israel might leave Gaza. So you're actually in a much worse situation compared to where you were before. So objective number two was not achieved. Objective number three, so you managed to delay maybe the Abrahamic Accord, but it seems like Saudi Arabia and the UAE and all these other countries are actually now more determined than ever to find a way to go ahead. One of the ways that you could determine number three was not achieved is that Saudi Arabia dropped the requirement for Israel to have a written agreement that they will resolve the Gaza situation at some point, to having an oral agreement to just show some, and no, not even promise. They reduce it from a promise to just orally saying that we will try our best. So this drop in requirement by Saudi Arabia shows that they are trying to find a way. So Saudi Arabia wants to have the Abrahamic Accord. It just fears its people and it fears the Islamists if it goes too fast with it.
They're sick of this.
Eager. Yes. So they're really eager to go ahead with that. So based on all these metrics, they are not victorious. Hamas has not won. So they try to change so these were the original goals mentioned, and now that they haven't achieved any of that, they are to pretend that they're victorious. They changed it to two new things. One is, hey, look, there are still Hamas people alive with uniforms, so we won because not every single one of us is dead, right? And two is that we managed to make the entire world hate Israel. We have brought a new level of hatred for Israel in Western countries. Okay,
that's not what the most recent polls from the U.S. say.
That's why I have that ready. That's why when you send me that, Susie, I was like, give me the link, because I knew this will come up at some point. Oh yeah, I know you. So I know this because of Susie. Okay, Susie sends me some really good insights from time to time, so I know. So I will get to that, right? But the first word, like, hey, we're still alive. So this is kind of like somebody is just, you come and harass somebody and attack them, and they respond and they beat the crap out of you, and now you're on the ground and you're bloody and your teeth have broken and you're paralyzed, and that guy has definitely won this fight. And you're like, well, I'm not dead, so I win this battle, right? You were trying to kill that man, Yeah. You were trying to kill somebody, you failed, they responded, they beat the crap out of you, and now you're bloody on the ground, and you're saying, I won this fight because I'm still alive. That's basically what you're saying when it's like, hey, some of us are still alive, so we're still resisting. So
and by the way, you're only alive because they held back, like, substantially.
Yes. Right. And with regards to making the world hate Israel has managed to be victorious in battle, even though there's so much anti-Jewish hatred in the world. It helps Israel if they could reduce the anti-Jewish hatred in the world, but Israel when Israel was founded, the world was more anti-Jewish. Like, the anti-Jewish hatred is something that is deep within the fabric of society, and Israel has survived all of that so far, and it will continue to survive that. But let's actually see how much because some people might be convinced because of this student protests, that you see some American students coming out in protest and feeling like, oh my God, look, Americans are now anti-Israel. Well, this is a very new poll that we have right now, and anybody who knows their polling knows that this is one of the most authoritative, legitimate, trustworthy polls that you could have, scientific polls that you could have out there. And this is from 2025, so this is quite fresh. You can see this is the
10
poll.
days ago.
So I think let me show you two charts, and I think I saw people like Mehdi Hassan refer to this number instead of this number to try to act like people are anti-Israel, right? So let's look at this is in America. So the question on the left says, in the Israel-Hamas conflict, do you support more Israel or more Hamas? And seriously, these are Americans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this is, so let's see in America. Look at this. 80% for Israel, 20% for Hamas, including Democrats. For Democrats is 75% for Israel. For Republicans, it's 81% for Israel. But even among Democrats, it's 75% still for Israel. Look at this number, right? And also, let's look at the age demographics, because a lot of people are like, okay, sure, but young people in the United States are becoming pro-Israel. There's not a single age demographic that is more pro-Hamas in the United States than pro-Israel. Yeah, sure. When we go to 25 to 34, we see a little bit more support for Hamas compared to other age groups. But even in that age group, we still have 70% is still for Israel more than Hamas. Which is interesting, because the younger ones, because I thought the younger you get, the more, because people are like, okay, well, this is actually bad for the future, because younger people are a little bit more pro Hamas, and if we keep going in that direction, then we're going to get more support for Hamas. But look, once you get to 18 to 24, we go back up again. We go back up to Israel. So it's only like the highest is 25 to 34, but then which is weird, which is interesting.
Well, I mean, what's also really important to highlight about this is that this was not the case in December of 2023. In December of 2023, for the age group of 18 to 24 and 25 to 34, there was majority support among those. Wait, actually, let me double check myself. What page is this on? 45?
So you had a temporary increase for hatred for Israel, and then immediately went back to where it was. Because you guys cannot help yourself. Because because some leftists support you, and then they were like, oh, wow, this is what these people believe in, and then here they regret supporting.
I can explain this very easily. So what it was in December of 2023 was 18 to 24 was split 50%, 50-50 support for Israel, support for Hamas, literally 50-50. Then 25 to 34 was 69% support for Israel, 31% support for Hamas. and then 35 to 44 was 76% support for Israel, 24% support for Hamas. So those were the generations that had the largest support for Hamas. And then you look at where things are nowadays in January 2025, and there's been a massive shift in opinion. And I explain this in two ways. One, when Americans are normal people and they don't like to see people being bombarded in war. Like and that's when things were really, really kicking off, right? And it's kind of like a shock to the system. You know, people are going to have a strong reaction to that. They're going to say, we hate to see this. We hate to see the suffering. We hate to see the misery.
And that's a correct position. It's just like,
yeah,
they just don't know who to blame sometimes. But yeah, obviously it's bad to see, like, that is a correct reaction to have to seeing people being bombarded. It's hard to explain that Hamas is to be blamed, but it's, yeah, we don't want to see people being indifferent to it. But yeah, go on.
The problem is, and this is very similar, I will compare it to the support we saw for Black Lives Matter during 2020. We saw the death of George Floyd. We saw a giant, overwhelming spike for Black Lives Matter in response to that. And then as that movement decided to burn things to the ground and go out of control and spin into destruction, you see support drop like a fucking rock. And this is why I say that leftists will always eat themselves, because they don't know how to fucking act. And I believe that this is part of what we've seen from this conflict, that there was a huge upswell in support. And then as the activists in the United States decide to take over this cause and across the West and really act a fool, it was extremely unpalatable to the average American public, because they are not that disordered in their personality and their mental health. Okay. And it's a bad look. And this is why I say that I have sympathy and I grieve for any group of people that has these activists and these leftists as their ally and as their spokesperson. Because they have destroyed this cause and its popularity within the United States with their bad behavior. Their what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like a weaponized empathy. Impotent rage. That's what I'm looking for. With their impotent rage. So maladaptive and disordered that the rest of Americans, who are sympathetic people that don't like to see people die, then go, is this what this is about? Because if so, I hate everything about what you're doing. So I'm going to dismiss everything else about this social cause. And I would love to see, someone needs to take all this data from Harvard Caps Harris and plot it longitudinally, because I want to see, you know, how it mapped over time, and then when you can map them onto specific events that were happening internationally and domestically, and I bet it would be a very revealing picture.
And those are the type of studies that are the best for identifying causality. Yeah. Which is very interesting. That's a very good point. You know, Susie knows her research. This is research skills. But it's just a very quick point, because I know I have talked so much, but I just want to get this out of the way. People like Mehdi Hassan and others try to use this graph, this other data. They don't mention this one. They mention this one to act like people are anti-Israel, right? Because most Americans would support. So the question here is, do you support or oppose the ceasefire deal reached between Israel and Hamas, which aims to end the war in Gaza and release hostages? So because most Americans would like to see and look at how the question is phrased, like release hostages, like who would say, like the question the question is like, oh no, like if somebody sees this question, like, oh, I don't want to see the hostages released. So obviously, I mean,
some people like do say that.
I know some people are like, yeah, but obviously this question is going to get more people saying, yes, please get a ceasefire to get the hostages released. And then because, you know, so somebody like Mehdi Hassan or other people could come out and say, like, look, Americans was a ceasefire and Netanyahu doesn't want a ceasefire. And this shows Americans are against the Israeli government or whatever, or they're anti-Israel, they're taking a stance against Israel. But they ignore this other data over here that shows like, no, between people are actually pro-Israel. Most Americans are actually pro-Israel. So just know I need you guys on this channel, the audience of this channel, to know these facts, because I want to have, for us to have a very sophisticated audience that knows how to respond to these mumbo jumbo where you
and
see
positive
it. So
outreach, positive outlook. Look at how much people's opinions changed.
Yes. Yeah, this is something to be happy about. Let's do the comments on the D selected for us. So I'm not going to do the post. I'm just going to do the comments here.
Yeah. So this is a Palestinian activist who I actually follow. He's very interesting. I don't always agree with him though. Saying, what kind of victory is this? Over 40,000 were killed, 100,000 were injured, and more than 65% of Gaza's buildings are reduced to rubble. This isn't victory. This is a grotesque display of indifference to Gazan lives, all for the delusion of a hollow, false triumph. This guy, Ihab, he's been highlighting a lot that as soon as this ceasefire went into effect, how Hamas has just been like executing Gazans in the street, like for supposed collaboration with the enemy. He highlights their
actually
crimes against Gazans a lot, which I think is needed.
This is actually such a great point. Okay, when so many Palestinians have died, and then you say victory, this shows how these so-called pro-Palestinians, how much they value Palestinian lives when this much death is being sold as a victory to us. You do not value Palestinian lives if you think this is what victory looks like. I saw, by the way, I told this to Susanna, there was an Iranian government analyst, like pro-government analyst, that was criticizing other Iranian pro-government analysts, claiming that this is victory. And he was saying that if we keep winning like this 2 more times, we will go extinct. Okay. So, yeah, anyways. But let's go.
Winning so hard, our cause no longer exists. What?
Yes.
This person was saying a victory in ruins. The scale of destruction in Gaza surpasses Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Dresden. I don't know if that's accurate. Gazans are slowly realizing that Hamas's victory declaration might be the cruelest joke they've ever heard, tragically. Enough rubble to fill up the still existing terror tunnels. Probably.
How could you compare this to... Okay, guys, it's not like Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Dresden. I mean, the numbers that we're seeing right now are astronomically high for modern standards. More modern, 40,000 people dying. It's a very high and tragic number for our modern standards. Okay, which we want this to be considered to be a tragedy, but these numbers are nothing compared to the death and destruction that was the norm just 1 generation ago. Are you kidding me? Hiroshima, guys, the world that we live in today, 40,000 people dying is a shock. Just 1 generation ago, between 1935 and 1945, for that entire time, people were dying, and I'm not kidding you, I'm not making this up, by a rate of 1,000 people an hour. Not a year, not a day, 1,000 person an hour from war during that entire period. That entire period. Do you understand the numbers we're talking about? We're talking millions, hundreds of thousands was progress when people were dying, because actual catastrophic wars had millions dying. And now we got into this shows how much progress. I mean, I'm not saying this is not a tragedy, but the fact that our levels of tragedies are talking about tens of thousands of people dying instead of hundreds of thousands of people dying.
It shows how far we've gone.
Millions of people. Yeah, that shows how far we've gotten. How dare you even compare this? Unbelievable. But let's continue.
Oh my God.
Oh God, gee, why are you doing this to them?
Guys, remember, Khomeini says, the mighty Rahbar, Gaza has won. Never forget.
Yes. Wait. No. Anyways.
That's a perfect note to end on. That's a
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, no need-
if there was not any further evidence we needed that if this is victory, what do you call defeat? It's a glorious quote from Khamenei. Gaza has won.
Delusional. You live in a
Yeah.
parallel universe. These people live in La La Land. I mean, you know what? I actually celebrate this because this is the reason why you continue to be defeated. Because your understanding of the world is so far away from reality that you cannot progress. Do you know why Israel is winning? Because Israel admits defeat when it loses something and it betters itself. The reason why you're far behind is because you never learn. And you never find your mistakes because you make no mistakes. That's why you will continue to be weak. In fact, you know what, Khamenei, you're right. You guys are winning. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, you guys are flawless. Fantastic. The resistance is stronger than ever. I want you to be disillusioned. I actually celebrate you being disillusioned because that's how you get defeated.
Oh my God. Oh wow, we got a giant super chat from Tomer.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so referring to a past super chat, what Barr is talking about is the Gulf War invasion in Iraq when the Palestinians helped Saddam overthrow Kuwait. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Similar thing over the decades in Lebanon and Jordan, along with Holland, and no Arab countries want them. That's why what Trump was saying like really threw me through a loop. I'm like, I don't know if you know the situation, my guy. HK gave, I think they're trying to give 18 shekels. And, you know, I don't know if you know this, Armin, but like 18 means chai. It means life.
Oh.
So it's really common when you're trying to like celebrate someone to give them things in 18 to wish them like a good life.
Know that.
Yeah. Like people might not know this, but when I was in college, I worked for a rabbi, and my rabbi liked me so much that she was so funny. She was like, I don't care if you're not Jewish, I'm your rabbi. She would pay me $18 an hour because she wanted like the chai.
Okay, that's cute.
So saying learning a lot. Thank you, Susanna and Armin. Well, thank you, HK. And thank you for the well wishes. Zaid left this comment saying, did you guys see the video all over social media of Gazans celebrating the return of Coca-Cola after a year and a half? And all the Muslims triggered in the comments saying, we boycotted this for you. Okay, Zaid, no, I have not seen this, and you need to send this to me immediately. Send this to me immediately.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. Send that to us.
Hysterical. Angry Keyboard Warrior is saying, congratulations, Armin. You made Gen Z 29% more pro-Israel.
Yes, it was all me. It was all me. But seriously, guys, support this channel because I know that's a joke. Our effect is not that much, but we do have some positive effect. So if you want to see more of Generation Z and future generations to have their correct viewpoint, please support this channel, like the stream, recommend this channel. I think we're doing something good here.
Yeah. And Aiden was just celebrating. Congrats on 70K subscribers, Armin. Thank you.
Yay. Yeah, thank you. And Susie, congratulations to Susie too.
Susie.
I mean, we wouldn't be, guys, seriously, we wouldn't be able to be, we would have gone under without Susie ages ago. So thank you, a special thank you for Susie for getting us here.
And Annabelle just became a new member. Thank you for supporting the channel, Annabelle.
Welcome to the, how about we say welcome to the Republic instead of the AR Army. Welcome to the Republic.
Oh my gosh, Zaid just sent me the videos. Wait, I'll forward this to you. Okay, in a second. Let me finish these super chats. Dan is saying, I support Israel, but I also support creation of a secular, democratic, not Islamic republic, Palestine, even though it's highly unlikely it'll be secular. I mean,
Yeah,
we
I
can
mean,
all
if it
have
was
things on our wish
possible.
list. We can all
Yeah,
dream.
it's on my wish list. This is also on my wish list if it was possible. If it was possible. And if it's not possible, we have to figure out something else. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be possible. I mean, right now that doesn't seem to be possible.
Yeah. Dan gave a celebrating his membership. Thank you, Dan, saying Russia, Ukraine is way worse than Israel, Gaza. By what metric? Can you be more specific?
Russia, Ukraine is way worse than Israel, Gaza. Oh, when it comes to the number of people dying, that actually might be true. Is that true? I haven't been following the numbers.
Unicorn also celebrating her membership, saying thanks as always, Susan Armin. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for supporting us. And Dan Dave gave another super chat saying, I think Democrats support Israel because of white guilt. Republicans support Israel because of biblical Jesus rapture fantasy. Agree or disagree? I disagree. I think you have a bad understanding about this. Democrats support Palestine because of white guilt. Not Israel. And that's a generalization and an oversimplification.
Some of them, the ones who do, you mean?
Yeah, but a lot of the whole ideological framework for supporting Palestine is all decolonial. That's the whole point. And that's why they constantly talk about the idea of Turtle Island instead of calling it North America, because that's trying to recognize the indigenous name and say that, you know, America also has no right to exist. We're all on occupied land back. Like they tie everything together. And to be fair, those are people who don't even support the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is too right for them. These are people who are likely to not even believe in voting in the US. I'm very familiar with them because, yeah.
So I consider the ideological. Okay, so you have to look at the material reality on the ground and the economics of things to understand why certain things are trending in a certain way, in a direction. And those are the actual main movers. And then the ideological things that you see is the dressing on top of it. That without the underlying material realities, things wouldn't be moving in that direction in the way that you see it, for it to express itself in different ideological appearance. Like, that's just the appearance. But the main underlying reason for supporting Israel that makes economic and world stability sense, that's why both parties are support Israel, is because Israel is an ally of the world liberal order in the Middle East. That is the main reason. That is the main geopolitical, economic, and stability reason. Okay, but anyways,
let's go to the next story. Do you have that ready? Oh wait, we got one more super chat. Saying, have you Googled Trump and 2,000-pound bombs? I mean, you're talking about the Moab. Like, what about it?
The Trump has now removed the ban of selling them to Israel. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, please be more specific with your super chat so we can address them appropriately.
Yes, but thank you for the support. Yeah. Did you want to play this or no? Should we move forward?
Oh, not right now. Or actually, yeah, we should do it now.
Okay, let's just do this fast.
Ahmed Abu Ismail, El Cola.
Oh my God, I love this. This is such an insult to all the so-called pro-Palestinian people who are boycotting. You're kissing Zionism. Did you know, Ali Dava? Palestinians are kissing Zionism.
No, the other one. Did you download that one?
Which one?
I sent you a second one.
Yep. Oh, you did? I missed that. So okay, here I have it really quickly. This would not take a long
ironic time. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, this might be one of the best advertisements for Coca-Cola I've ever seen. Like,
Yes.
I don't like Coca-Cola, but the absolute joy to have the Coca-Cola, like, is it, this is selling. Look at the joy on his face as he lets that the lid like crack. Okay, now this is an advertisement.
This is an example for that Palestinians just want living. You know, like these are at least the Palestinians who your freaking ideology. You know, they just want to be able to enjoy a freaking Coke in peace rather than fighting for your goddamn stupid ideology. But let's watch this.
Yeah.
بسم الله نبتدي كولا من قبل 460 يوم. بسم الله اسمع إن عن عرض الفتحة محلاها. والآن سوف نشرب بسم الله. يا عيني يا ابن ماذا شعرت الآن؟ ايش شعرت؟ ولك ما هذا إلا عن الكوكب، ولك كولا أنتم مستوعبين من قبل 470 يوم لن مش دايقينها. ولك السعد الحرب اللي خلصها يا شيخ. سلامات.
You know what? I really feel bad for them that this has become a luxury, that they miss this. I mean, this just let them live instead of making them fight for death, for the afterlife, for fucking martyrdom. You know, the reason why they cannot enjoy life, just simple pleasures of life, is because you brainwash people to fight for something in the next one, in the next life. God fucking damn. Yeah. Anyways, I know we have to move forward, so sorry for. I will talk less. Okay. So,
okay.
Can we clap for the next? Can we clap for the next news?
Yeah, we're gonna just talk about something kind of juicy and interesting.
Okay. Next news.
Next news: Sharia finance. How Islamists are quietly taking over Britain. Wahid Invest, a Sharia-compliant investment firm backed by Saudi Aramco and French footballer Paul Pogba, caused outrage in the UK with a provocative ad campaign featuring euros and US dollars in flames with the tagline, "Join the money revolution." Well, Wahed defended the campaign as a critique of inflation and a call for a fairer system without interest. The Advertising Standards Authority, or ASA, banned it, citing its offensive nature and potential to alienate international travelers. Beneath the surface, this isn't just about marketing. It's a glimpse into the growing influence of Sharia finance in the West. Sharia-compliant banking, which avoids interest and adheres to Islamic law, may appear benign, but it is deeply tied to a broader Islamist agenda. These systems funnel money through an ecosystem controlled by Sharia scholars, reinforcing Islamist power structures and embedding Islamic principles into Western economies. Wahed's ties to controversial British Islamist figures and its promotion of Sharia financing as a solution to global wealth inequality raises red flags about its real motives. As the ad campaign declared, quote, "Charging people to borrow money was once called exploitation." But the reality is that Sharia financing is less about fairness and more about advancing a worldview fundamentally at odds with secular values. So I thought this was really interesting because this ad campaign in general in the UK caused like a little bit of a stir. And now the ad has been banned by the Advertising Standards Authority because it was reported by so many people for being offensive because it shows US dollars and euros on fire. Personally, I don't think people actually like cared that much about the money being on fire. I think they just didn't love that Sharia stuff is like openly being pushed in public all across like double-decker buses, all throughout the tubes. Like I think that was maybe what people had a little bit of a contention with. But in general, I wanted to talk about this whole problem of Sharia financing because we've talked about this, about how Trudeau himself in Canada said that they need to create Sharia mortgaging options for people in Canada as a way to like integrate people and make sure that, you know, like Muslims have access to the same things. Meanwhile, people like Armin and I would contend that that is actually the exact opposite of integration because that is promoting more conservative forms of Islam, which are antithetical to more integration into our societies. But to help explain this a teeny bit, I wanted to show this video that Dee found of this guy in London explaining a little bit about Sharia financing. Now, this is like, because probably people have no idea what are the details of this and how it works. So let's just check this out really quickly. Can I unmute? No, I can't unmute. Thank you. Okay. So really quick, let's like very high level overview.
So this right here is an Islamic bank, and here's how you can use it to make halal investments in property. Islamic banks operate very differently to conventional banks because they follow Sharia law, which bans the use of interest, also known as riba. So instead of charging interest, Islamic banks offer finance options which allow Muslims to make halal investments, but just like me and Jamal did for Airbnb investments in Morocco. One common method is known as murabaha, which is where the bank will buy the property on your behalf and sells it to you at a pre-agreed higher price. And this is where
you're muted.
Sorry, I need to pause a little bit because the music might be copyrighted, so we shouldn't let it play for a long time. And then let's continue.
As murabaha, which is where the bank will buy the property on your behalf and sells it to you at a pre-agreed higher price. And this is where you avoid interest.
Mother effer, that's interest. That's interest.
Okay, no, we're gonna talk about this. Don't worry, hold on. We're gonna talk about.
The plan is clear, halal from the start. Option number 2 is ijara, where the bank purchases your property and leases it back to you, and over time you will be paying rent to the bank, and eventually, inshallah, the property will then be transferred to you once the payments are complete. Again, all in the halal way.
That's interest.
Yeah, people will very quickly identify that this is interest by a different name. They're like, so you're telling me it's interest with extra steps.
You know what? I think this.
Go ahead.
Well, I just think this is a scam, but I don't mean it. This is a scam against Allah. They're trying to trick Allah. They're hoping that the Almighty, knower of all, okay, is not going to notice that Muslims are trying to do interest. Like they're trying to actually trick Allah. They think like Allah says interest is a sin, and like, but what if we sneak, like hoping like they're gonna make it to heaven because Allah didn't notice what they're doing. This is a scam against Allah. I'm calling it.
No, so
but go on.
This okay. I want to talk about like what is the problems with this system, and then Armin, I would like you to talk about like why we would be opposed to this in general. Like personally, for me, it's kind of well, I'll get to that, but basically, part of the reason why this is a bad system, even for Muslims, is that it is. A lot of Muslims correctly point out that this is basically interest with extra steps, so they don't really like that, and also, depending on how these different arrangements are made, it often actually ends up being more expensive and less financially attainable for Muslim families than if they had just done a standard mortgage, for example. And so it's actually a very bad financial decision to make for their financial health, because they're going to end up actually paying more for the same thing because they had this convoluted agreement. If you're interested in learning more about this, the friendly ex-Muslim Abdullah Samir has made a lot of very good videos explaining the problems with Sharia and halal financing, and those videos have taught me a lot. But Armin, I mean, I think it's worth noting about, regardless of whether or not this is a bad financial decision and not financially healthy, I think we would have problems with it either way. And part of the reason why I have a problem with it is because this is validating Sharia within our societies. It's promoting for people to be more Islamic, be more conservative. And it is again putting the authority back in the lap of Sharia and the Islamic scholars instead of within our own financial institutions. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and also it brings money to the Islamic industry, right? Because this is a very good way for the ulama, the Islamic scholars and Islamic preachers and that Islamic institutions to come and cut a piece of the pie of the finance industry and bring it within, and basically you see, the finance industry is a very profitable industry. Very profitable industry.
I mean, it's kind of in the name.
So think about all the private equity firms, all the banks, all the loaning, insurance industry. So if the Islamic institutions could tell the Muslims of society that you need to be doing finance with us, then the profit from the finance industry will fund the rest of these Islamic institutions and make them more relevant, make them more important, make them more well funded. So this is very dangerous. I also made an image with AI to be able to explain to you guys what's happening here. All right. So in Islam, you can't eat pork. This is the equivalent of doing this, right? to be able to eat pork, right? They're like, this is a cow. We can eat it now. That's basically what they're doing, right? I just wanted to show you have a visual, visual demonstration of what's happening here. Okay.
Well, and this is something I had a question about when I was doing research about it. I saw some scholars say, and Armin, I'm asking you because you're more knowledgeable than me, that this way of doing Sharia financing is actually more of a modern invention that is like taking a principle and making it more conservative than it actually has traditionally been in Islamic societies. And they're basically saying traditionally it's not that they were against all interest. Like, your economies actually need interest to be thriving.
Oh yeah. You don't have
let me finish.
Okay.
It's that there was a belief that it was exorbitant interest that was haram. It was too much interest that was haram. So is that accurate or no?
Bullshit. This is something that Islam inherited from Judaism, okay? And they're trying to come up with something. It's just basically interest. Interest is haram. If you want to lend money to someone else, Islam says that you cannot charge interest over it. So if you need money from me, let's say you need $1,000 from me, in Islam, if I give you $1,000, eventually when you pay me back, it should be $1,000. Okay, I cannot charge interest on that. Like, I'm encouraged to lend you money. Lending money is okay because I'm helping out a fellow Muslim, right? But if you pay me back, I cannot charge you extra, which is basically Islam not understanding the time value of money. There's value. I took a risk and I could have done things with that money in that meantime that would have brought profit. So when I gave you that money, the time that passes that you have that money has some value in it. And Islam doesn't understand that. And that's basically the foundation of all finance, right? So if you have, we don't have Sharia. So Sharia finance is a contradiction, okay? Because without interest, there is no such thing as finance, right? So there is no Sharia finance because because these two are contradictory to each other, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you cannot even. So here's the thing: if we had interest in different ways since the beginning of civilization, right? If you say hey, I have this area where I could raise some chicken, okay, but I don't have money to go buy chicken and feed my chicken. Can you give me some? Okay, let's say we don't even have money. Let's say hey, I have the land. Can you bring your chicken here and raise them and feed them? And they're like, sure, I will do that, but I need some of the egg, then for this to be worth my chickens, then that would be interest on my original investments. So even with this is part of how everything works. This is part of how we have growth in society.
Basic economic incentive.
Yes, I think people who are anti-interest, their experience with interest is just basically credit cards and these very aggressive
student loans.
What do you call it? Shark loans, things that take it
loan sharks,
but loan sharks or stuff like that. Yeah, but that's not all experience with interest. Interest is just basically recognizing the time value of money, which is basically the foundations of everything finance related. Anyways, I don't want to do a finance 101 here. Should we quickly do the comments?
Yeah, can you do
we
the
already
comments
did that
while
one.
I go to the bathroom?
Yes. Okay, let's do that. So this guy is saying you'll see these adverts all across London now, including on the underground. Sadiq Khan has previously banned junk food ads, body shaming ads, one of them for showing a wedding cake. Really? That's a lot of government involvement. And then continue to say, but apparently ads featuring an Islamist promoter of Sharia law is okay. And these are look at these celebrities they're putting there. This must be very lucrative. Like, I can't even imagine how much money these people are making. And then somebody saying here, is everybody still okay with sitting on the sidelines? Yeah. And then somebody else commented, the company is probably a front for money laundering. I mean, guys, even if it doesn't have to be a front for money laundering, because the front itself is going to be financing. Like, you don't need to be a front for something else. You could do what they're doing is going to be funding Islamic institutions right in front of your face. They don't need to be hiding anything. All right, so those are the comments there. Oh, Susie's profile picture is me, so she didn't change it. Let's. Oh, by the way, D was pointing this out earlier in the stream as well. D was saying they just add the interest into the price. Exactly. D understands what's happening here. Okay, so we have some super chats, but let me actually remove this tab and then go to this tab because I want Susie to read the super chats. Okay, like I'll do it before Susie comes. All right, so Susie's here. You're back.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
David the Goliath is asking, thank you for the super chat, David. Weird question, but why do white supremacists consider groups like Chechens, Dagestanis, Bosnian, Albanian Muslims to be white? I don't think they would like these whites immigrating to the West. What it has to do with ethnicity?
Yeah. I mean, are we really trying to make sense of these people as if they make any sense their views? And first of all, I'm assuming that many of these people have a diverse set of views. It's not like they all think the same. And also, they're not supposed to make sense because these people are insane. Like, I don't know. I'm not experts in what these people, the different ideologies that these people have, but they probably, I don't know. Yeah, I think and also if any of them does think like that, it's because probably they think more about ethnicity rather than ideology, right?
Yeah.
And then next,
Dan Dave saying, my favorite part of Islam is that Allah will send you to hell for not believing in him, but he is okay with that as long as you pay the jizya tax. Great scheme.
No. You mistake. No. You're mistaking, Dan. If you pay the jizya, you still go to hell.
Yeah.
You just not. If you're a Christian or a Jew, and then you abide by Islamic law and pay the jizya, that means that the Islamic government will not kill you. But once you die, you're still gonna go to hell forever and ever and ever and ever. Yeah. Yes.
Dan gave another super chat. Thank you for supporting the show, saying, do you think Islam or religion in general will survive space colonization? It'll be very sad if people will be offering namaz on a Martian colony. I think that there will always be religion in some sense. We have an inherent need for meaning making and origin story within our human psychology. Like, it's going to exist in one form or another.
Yeah. Until we're not human, unless technology gets us to a point where we're not human anymore.
Yeah. Annabelle gave a super chat saying Christians were against interest, not Jews. Misunderstanding of Jesus' rebuke of the moneylenders.
No. We have within the Old Testament and the Torah. So you're saying Jews? Yeah, Jews were not themselves were not against interest, but within their commandment, within their religion, there's positions against interest. just because Jews were not following it, that doesn't mean. So I'm talking about the religion, you're talking about the people.
And this is part of where the stereotype of the miserly Jew came from in the West.
Right.
Is because they served as the money
start
lenders often when Christians wouldn't.
You start the what is that comment you said? Read that one.
No, that's just someone being racist to you.
Oh.
But I'm not going to highlight it. I just thought it was funny.
Okay. I think it's funny too.
They seem to think that you're Indian or something because they're using anti-Indian slurs against you. But anyways.
Can I highlight it? I want people to see it.
Okay, sure. I don't know if that's good for YouTube.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Okay. Let's go to the next story though, because I'm very excited to talk about this. This is interesting. This is
okay.
This is controversial.
Next news.
How Islamic blasphemy laws kill freedom. Iran sentences rapper to death. So, rapper and Iranian singer Amir Hussein Maghsoodloo, more commonly known by his name Tatolu, is at the center of global outrage after reports surfaced that an Iranian court sentenced him to death for blasphemy against the Prophet Muhammad. However, the judiciary has come out and denied this. They've denied this charge. So whether or not he's sentenced to death, there's different reporting on this. We're not entirely sure. The state-affiliated Jam newspaper claimed the case was reopened, and this time the defendant was sentenced to death for insulting the prophet. But officials maintain the verdict isn't final, hinting at possible leniency. Tatolu, a provocative figure with bold tattoos and a unique blend of rap and R&B, was once a darling of conservative politicians in Iran, and he even supported Iran's nuclear program in a 2015 song. However, after being extradited from Turkey in 2023, he now faces charges ranging from prostitution to obscene content. His case has sparked intense debate about freedom of expression under Iran's harsh blasphemy laws. So this is a very interesting case for many reasons, because here's the thing, guys. This guy is a piece of shit. Here's the thing. Let me explain. He's not a good person. Okay. And he is extremely controversial in Iranian circles for his activities and his behavior. This person said Tekashi 6ix9ine is Iranian, and actually the comparison to Tekashi 6ix9ine is not that far off because of some of the stuff he's been accused of. Let me explain. Okay. So basically, he is very famous. He is, I don't know how popular he is nowadays. I know he has been very popular.
I still get shit for speaking, like on our Persian channel. Yeah. We have some teenage girls always attacking me whenever I say something bad about this guy. I don't know why.
Look, I've listened to his music. I think his music is trash, whatever. That's my opinion.
Oh, you're going to get so much teenage hate from some, again, not most people don't support him, I think. I hope not. But he has his cult young following for some reason. Yeah.
And so this guy is very controversial for a multitude of reasons. Okay. Let's break down why he's not popular with the opposition. So he's not popular with the opposition that want to see an overthrow of the Iranian regime because he has traditionally supported a lot of conservative figures in the Iranian government. In fact, he supported the presidential campaign of none other than the Butcher of Tehran, famous for his time on the death council of the 1980s, Ibrahim Raisi. He was a supporter of Raisi, supported Raisi's presidential campaign that he lost at the time, and then Raisi became the president in a different election cycle. Again, elections in quotations. And then, we all know that Raisi got stoned by a mountain. But so he's infamous for supporting the regime in many different ways. He supported Raisi. He had the song where he supports Iran's nuclear program and backing Iran's self-defense against like our enemies. And sorry, you're going to say something?
He's more infamous for his relationship with minors and having a sex cult and getting people to very young girls to pledge absolute loyalty and dedication to him, treating them like his slaves. I don't know how he managed to brainwash so many of them. So he's famous for that as well.
Yeah, so here's the thing. That's what I was getting to. He's also infamous for promoting sex with underage girls. YouTube, we are reporting about the activities of other people. We are not promoting this. And grooming young girls. And reportedly, that's part of why he got in trouble in Turkey. Where is this article? Let me double check. Where's the quote? Where's the quote? Basically, where was it? The family of some girls like reported him. Oh crap. So yeah, Armin, I mean, tell us more about, how people really feel about him.
I'm actually going to put a poll in the chat because, so on one side, we have the Islamic Republic that might issue a death sentence against him. And the other side, this guy is a piece of shit. So I want to know, before I say my opinions, what do you guys think? So I'm going to put a poll saying, should we support this rapper and fight against his, let's say, his death sentence? Okay. So his potential, because we don't know actually. We're getting conflicting reports.
Yeah, let's assume for the sake of argument that it is true.
Oh, okay. Let me actually, I have to switch channel here to be able to.
Okay.
I want to know what you guys think, because when it comes to protecting people's right to life and all, I want to see if you guys would include garbage people for that as well or not. Okay, so
here's the thing. If I remember correctly, like he's defended child marriage, he's defended relationships with underage girls, saying like what's so wrong about this. I think he even cited the marriage of Aisha, potentially justifying it. I can't quite remember. When from this article, when he was first arrested and handed from the Turkish authorities to the Iranian authorities, he is said to have been immediately detained on judicial orders under a number of private complaints. These include allegations against him from individuals under the age of 18 and their families, accusing him of sexual assault and acts of violence. He openly promotes this activity, like all over his social media. He got banned from Instagram like a few times because he just apparently won't shut up about that. But you're saying that there's a bunch of teenage girls that are obsessed with him. But what is the overall opinion?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very famous rapper. He had a cult of personality around him. Some young minds who are again, not all. I don't want to like act like the Iranian young generation is just all in favor. But some young minds were very obsessed with this man, and now they are defending him like he's. Some girls defend this man like this is like everybody's getting it wrong, like they lied about him, and blah blah blah. So there's a lot of that. So I have a video of him next to, so the part that he used to support the regime. Let me actually show you one of his music videos. And again, I'm not going to play the music because it will probably get copyrighted. But look, this is before he had the tattoos. When he was still in Iran, because eventually he went to Turkey, and now they got him in Turkey and brought him back to Iran. But look, he was supporting the Iranian military, and because now it will get in this music video, and that's him. Look, he used to have a beard. He used to have no tattoo. I want to see, like, that's him. Can you believe, like, he looks completely different, right? That's him, right? and he was pro-regime. He had this song was very good propaganda for the regime. And then let's look at a later music video of him, and he was getting more controversial at this point. But look here, he's sitting with Raisi. So now he doesn't have his beard, but he doesn't have the tattoo either, right? All that tattoo.
He has one on his neck.
I
think he has tattoos on his arms.
Yeah, and even back then, this was very controversial for Raisi to sit next to somebody that has some tattoos like that. Back then, this was like, wow, like Raisi is like actually, because this is the part, like his beard is gone and he has some tattoo. I know, like he even talked about his tattoos, because his tattoos, like some of them were for respect from some Shia holy figures. So he was trying to sell his tattoos as not being anti-Islamic and stuff. And Raisi was laughing about it. So some people saw this as a wholesome moment. And some people, and those people hated him for this, because he was basically humanizing this evil person that killed so many Iranians. And this guy is a part of the Death Council, and he killed so many Iranians in the 1980s. And he was just sitting to him, talking to him about his tattoos, right? And then eventually we have him. Now this is now like that was, he just had few tattoos back then. So this is his situation right now. They got him in. He went from Turkey to Iran himself, I think, thinking that they will forgive him. Oh yeah, no.
I mean, maybe at some point, but this most recent batch is he got extradited.
Oh, extradited. Okay. So, but he thought that maybe the supreme leader or something will forgive him. But this is in the Iranian courts right now, the Islamic Republic court, and this is what he used to have, like a build, like they had a center in Turkey where all his loyal cult followers would come, and they had their own, like, I don't know, orgy or whatever they had. I don't know exactly what they had, but it was a weird shit that they had there. Anyways, now he's here, and the reason why he might get a death sentence is because he insulted, like he had some insults for some holy Shia figures and stuff. So I don't think he's mentally stable, because he goes from really being respectful to Shia Islam and showing a lot of respect and acting like he loves these people, to all of a sudden insulting them and then going back to celebrating them. So some people are defending him by saying, like, okay, this guy is not mentally stable, so that's why we should support him, because he's mentally ill and stuff. Within the Iranian celebrity drama, this guy is a major topic. Like, anybody, if you have a Persian channel, if you put this man's name, Tatalu, in the title and start speaking about the drama and who says what and who's right and the people who are defending him and the people who are against him, like, if you talk about that, you're going to get a lot of views, okay? Because he's a hot topic. Anyways,
yeah, so to here, I found an article from 2020 that talks more about why he was banned from Instagram like 20 freaking times or something. So basically, his official Instagram page published several posts in recent days in which Tatalu was seen to be attempting to groom underage girls by inviting them to join his personal harem. It is not the first time his page has shared such messages, but on this occasion, his page was shut down. A group of journalists, lawyers, and human rights activists published reports on his online harassment campaign in mainstream and social media. Tatalu deleted his Instagram stories, inviting children to have sex a few hours after they were public. Then there was this person who said, so far, more than 20 Instagram accounts have been blocked, and we will continue our efforts until we uproot this corruption and take it off of all platforms of this network. Until this network stops destroying society by spreading the culture of child grape, we will continue our work. In the case of Amir Tatalu and others like him, we are facing a catastrophe that is the normalization of child grape and misogyny in society. Taking the platform away from such people in such networks is definitely the first step. However, as you guys vote in this poll, I will remind you that he is not facing charges or the death penalty for that activity.
Yeah.
He's facing the death penalty for blasphemy.
Blasphemy, yeah. So you guys, even if you want him dead for his relationship with minors, like physical, this guy has physical relationship with minors, that's not what they're going to kill him for. They're going to kill him for blasphemy, if they do kill him. So
yeah, again, conflicting reports. And so what are the results of the poll? I haven't pulled it up.
Oh yeah, so the question was, should we support this rapper and fight against the potential against his potential death sentence? 61% said yes, and 39% said no. I mean, yeah, I agree with the 61% because I'm all for this, throwing this guy in prison, locking him up for many years, if not forever. But I'm not for the death sentence. I will support people that I don't like. I mean, the whole point of human rights is not supporting humans that we like, right? I mean, we wouldn't even need human rights if we liked everybody. If we liked everybody, they wouldn't need human rights because we would just be defending them because we like them. Okay, the whole point of human rights is to defend people's rights, even when we don't like them. And this person has the right to life. Maybe he doesn't have the right to freedom anymore, like he should be in jail. But executions, death penalties, I'm against it. So I will support. I would even support an ISIS member's right to a lawyer, for example, right? Even though I hate the guy, I would, I wouldn't feel any sympathy for that person if they died. But there are certain principles that if you follow in a society just improves. And that includes protecting the rights of all individuals, including horrible individuals, right? So,
Yeah.
For example, if you have arrested an ISIS member and they're asking, should we give this person an access to a lawyer to defend himself? I would be yes. I hate this motherfucker, but yes, civilized societies do that. And again, for this individual, I would, as an activist, I would support his right to not be executed for blasphemy, even though he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Of course, we're not going to make him head of a campaign, for sure, Carl. But don't make him No, of course, he's not the head of anything. But he shouldn't be the head of anything. We're just supporting his right to stay alive. We're not supporting, of course not. He's not going to be leading.
Yeah, no.
But do you agree, Susanna?
He's a piece of shit. Yeah, I mean, he should get fair representation in court and all this stuff. I'm not super inclined to be super sympathetic to him, of course.
Yeah, we're not going to show him any. If he dies, we're not going to be like, oh, poor him. We're going to be like, we're going to basically focus our anger over the Islamic Republic's justice system. I'm personally not going to feel any sympathy towards him.
I'll think that it's wrong that he was killed for blasphemy if that happens.
Blasphemy, yes, exactly. It was the wrong thing that shouldn't have happened, but it's hard to show sympathy.
Yeah,
I mean, I find it hard to show sympathy.
Yeah.
And we'll see the comments. What is this?
Oh, this is some weird. This is almost like a weird conspiracy that D found. Saying extradited from Turkey to Iran. Wait a second. Doesn't the U.S. give billions to Turkey each year in foreign aid and military assistance? And they essentially give some dude over to Iranians who want to kill him for artistic freedom. Why is the U.S. allies with Turkey? Questioning face. I'm like, I don't know what you're getting at here.
Yeah, because Turkey wants to maintain a relationship with United States and its freaking neighbor. I mean, Turkey has bad relationships and good relationships with the Islamic Republic. They cannot go full-on anti-Islamic Republic. They have to deal with them. They're right there. They're their neighbor. It's an important neighbor. Right.
Yeah, I don't. Also, I feel like the talking about, oh, this is just about his artistic freedom is a bit of a misnomer and misconstrued, because some of the original charges brought against him in Turkey had to do with what he was doing to minors. That's my understanding. So just being like, oh, this is about artistic freedom. I'm like,
Turkey was like, this is your mess. Take this garbage out of my country. Let's you guys deal with this shit. Yeah, that's what Turkey went. Yeah. So what's this one?
Yeah, this person just saying Islam has no place on this earth. We will never have peace while this cult is active. Again, this is not. The blasphemy issue. Sure, a lot of other reasons why he's in trouble. I don't know.
I mean, you're not wrong though. But she's not wrong. Anyways, we have 2 super chats, and 2 super chats.
Yes, Dan gave a super chat saying, "Is it blasphemy to say that Muhammad dated 9-year-old Aisha?" No, this is a mainstream understanding, and you will see imams talking about this openly and validating this as a fact of their understanding all the time with zero hesitation or regret. There are tons of imams that like do not make excuses for this. They don't say that actually she was older. They're like, no, this is, that's it. That's real.
I mean, it could be blasphemy. No, it's not blasphemy, but it is. You could be you would be more likely to be attacked for saying otherwise, because you are saying you're taking a position against Hadith Bukhari, Sahih Bukhari, and Sahih Muslim, right? So in fact, it's not blasphemy to deny that has happened, but it is a very anti-Hadith position if you deny that has happened, right?
I think you're getting a little niche.
Yes, okay. Never
mind. Dave gave another super chat saying, "Can non-Muslim men marry Muslim women in any Muslim majority nation and raise kids as non-Muslim? What happens to such a couple in a country run by Sharia?" No. So I don't know about all the policies of all Muslim majority nations, but according to Sharia, you cannot do this.
That's a very simple and quick, good answer. So what Islamic countries do, we don't exactly know what the law is in every country, but according to Islam, that is not allowed.
Yeah.
It's not like every Islamic country follows Islam in their laws.
Yeah. In fact, oftentimes the opposite is true, which is why Islamists have so much beef and anger towards the whole world.
Yeah. True. Okay.
Ooh, I'm excited to talk about this next one.
Yes. You know what? Just one sentence. Forget about following Islamic laws when it comes to marriage. The UAE built Hindu temples. So that is a government that within an Islamic land built a temple dedicated to shirk. Like, this is beyond not just following Islam. This is a government that don't have to be a khawarij to takfir anymore.
In Saudi, they're celebrating Halloween.
Yes.
That had me going, yes. What? Excuse me?
They just didn't call it Halloween. All right. Next news.
Michigan Imam praises Hezbollah. Radical Islam's threat to America. So, okay, we're going to watch the video soon, but this is very, very interesting. On January 8th, 2025, Imam Muhammad Ali Elahi of the Islamic House of Wisdom in Dearborn, Michigan, delivered a speech steeped in support for Hezbollah and its slain leader Hassan Nasrallah, declaring it a blessing to have been attached with Nasrallah and Lebanon's martyrs. Elahi, who has long been tied to the Iranian regime's influence network in the United States, exemplifies Tehran's propaganda machinery operating on U.S. soil. As the only identifiable member of the Ahl-Bayt World Assembly, which is a global organization dedicated to spreading Iranian ideological influence, okay, remember that. He's the only American on this assembly. Elahi plays a pivotal role in disseminating pro-Iranian political narratives. Quote, Saeed Nasrallah and the people who sacrificed in Lebanon and Yemen are the real winners of 2024, he proclaimed, while denouncing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as the real loser. Elahi's remarks mirrored Tehran's rhetoric, praying for the defeat of the criminal occupying Zionists and promising to sell his apartment to aid families in Lebanon. With his ties to high-level Iranian leaders and history of promoting Iran's ideological and political agenda, Elahi's public glorification of Hezbollah highlights the Iranian regime's deeply rooted soft power operations in the United States. So I wanted to talk about this because not only is this some Shia cope that we love. We love to cultivate. We farm Shia cope for you guys, and we magnanimously come and present it to our audience. Not only that, which is one of our favorite hobbies, but this also gives me the opportunity to talk about Iranian influence networks in the United States and some of the reports I've been reading. So let us watch the video of this quote. Okay. And Armin, you're going to have to unmute this for me, please. And then I want you to dissect this Shia cope because it's just so good.
We are so blessed of knowing these people, being attached with these people, being honored that they are part of Lebanon, and all the shayateen say whatever they want. But as Sayyid and the people who sacrificed in Lebanon, in Yemen, to support the cause of Madlumin, the oppressed in Gaza, they were the real winners of 2024. They are the winners, the victorious. The other guys that continued their violence, viciousness, Netanyahu and others, they are the real losers. They are losers. خاسرون. إن حزب الشيطان هم الخاسرون. They are not going to be remembered with honor. They will be remembered as war criminals and as warmongers and insane people, evil. So really, these people who showed that much faith, that much love, that much heart, they deserve every support. I even made a nadr that, inshallah, when things are settled in Lebanon, I have a little apartment in, back home. So I said, if I have to sell that and make a little house for somebody in south of Lebanon, I'm ready to do that. You did your job, our beloved martyrs. We send our salam and our salutation to you. Allahumma khzul a'da'ahum al-mujrimeen, al-mufsideen, al-sahayina, al-muhtallin, برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين على أرواح الشهداء وشفاء مرضاهم وجرحاهم ونصرة المجاهدين. نقرأ سورة الحمد بعد الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
Okay.
Before we dissect this, I want to say that today I went and watched his whole sermon to make sure that it was not taking anything out of context, because that's important to me. Let me tell you, normally sometimes watching the full sermon can give me some juicy bits that I bring to you guys special, exclusive, okay? This time it was a total waste of time. He was just talking about Bismillah and how different schools of thought say Bismillah. Waste of time, but I do it for you. Okay, Armin, let us unpack.
I just want you to look at the real world and look at what these people are saying. And you tell me if things were the opposite. What do you think these people will say? Okay. He says people like Trump and Netanyahu are the losers. Nasrallah are the winners. Okay. So let's look at what has happened and then compare to these people's coping mechanism, right? Imagine, so Nasrallah died being 6 feet underground, hiding in a hole, trying to stay alive, and still he wasn't able to stay alive. And you have just imagine you're a Muslim and you believe God controls the entire universe to the point that every single atom, every single electron, every single subatomic particle does what it does because Allah is actively willing it. So everything happens in Allah's will. And then you're on Nasrullah's side and the enemy is Trump. there's a bullet that is directed right at Trump to kill him. And in the very last second, Trump moves his head just a little bit, and it just passes his head, injuring his ear, and doesn't kill him in the very last second, and he doesn't die. And that's your enemy. And Allah, again, everything under the control of Allah. And then your guy is hiding 6 feet underground in a bunker that is supposed to be missile proof. And then the missile finds him there and he gets killed. And then Trump is losing. And then you are the winners. Tell me this. If we change the position, would this guy come and say, like, we're the loser? Imagine if Trump, like, imagine if these guys, imagine if Hezbollah was bombing the United States, had that much power, and Trump, to stay alive, was hiding 6 feet underground to stay alive, and he still dies anyway. And then Nasrallah, like the Mossad was trying to kill Nasrallah, and then the bullet just misses him by a millimeter. And in very last second, he moves his head. Would these people come and say, oh, Trump was the winner here, we were the losers? Would these motherfuckers not come out here and say, oh my fucking God, this was a miracle. This is absolute proof that we are the winners and Allah is on our side? Would these people not say that?
You know, that's a good point. You would never say this about your enemies, bro.
The fact that no matter what happens, you die, you're the winner. You stay alive, you're the winner. Your enemy miraculously stays alive, they're the loser. Your enemy dies, you're the winner. The fact that the reality, the objective reality on the ground has no influence over your final analysis, which is we are the winners. The fact, the lack of influence on that conclusion shows that it doesn't really matter what happens. You are living in La La Land. You're living in a different reality, which is completely separate, divorced from the world that we are living in. That's what I mean, let's be real here. I don't know. This is some heavy cope. Heavy cope.
Yeah. No, it really is. I have to admit though, I find his Iranian accent quite relaxing. I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay, so a lot of Iranians who speak good English, when they hear some Iranians speak with such heavy accent, they look down. Some Iranians look down upon other Iranians for not having perfect English.
That's true. Iranians are perfectionists about their English, in my experience.
They feel like if you don't have perfect English, it's a demonstration of lack of education, which is unfair, I think. I mean, you're trying, but again, but I'm impacted by that. So like when he's talking, I kind of feel like ew, but I don't know if that's fair.
I know that part of me, I found it a little bit relaxing, but I want to talk about like who this guy is and why this is a great excuse for us to talk about him. So one, he is part of an organization called the Islamic House of Wisdom in Dearborn, Michigan. And this is an organization that broke off from a different organization at some point. But he is, according to a CIA report, this man served as the head of the Iranian Navy's political ideological offense in 1982. And this allegation was reiterated in Congress. Elahi himself has addressed this allegation, but not denied it. Eventually, he went on to establish the Islamic House of Wisdom in Dearborn, and this is an Islamic center which is the beneficiary of a nonprofit organization in the U.S. that receives funding from the Iranian government, from the Islamic Republic. So his organization is funded by the Islamic Republic, or has been. He has long ties back to the Islamic Republic. Like I was talking about, he's the only identifiable American member of the Ahl Bayt World Assembly. And he's been seen traveling to Iran to attend meetings of this assembly. This is an organization that is explicitly purposed with spreading the message of the Islamic Revolution around the world. So I fully believe this man to be an Iranian asset. As a demonstration of that. Yeah.
No asset.
Yeah, you're right. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Let's do a little examination here. Okay, wait, is this nice and zoomed in? Yeah, I think this is good enough. This is a part of a report about this is part of the most extensive report on Iranian soft power influence networks in the United States. And enhance. Here we see Elahi with none other than Zarif. I don't know if Armin wants to explain who he is. Who was recently speaking at Davos, full of all sorts of apologia for the Islamic Republic. It's like, you can fuck off. And Rouhani. Oh, who is that? Oh, that's Rouhani right there. Now, let us go here and let me confirm which one. Yes. Enhance. Who is this over here? This is Khomeini. Okay. May he burn in hell. And boom. Dude. Who is this? This is
that him?
Elahi. Yes. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. Now. Oh,
wow.
Who do we have here? Oh, it's him with John Kerry. If people don't know, the Iranian American community hates John Kerry with a burning passion. That's a bit of a generalization. I'm sure some people don't care. But they hate John Kerry for his friendship with Javad Sharif. Who do we have here? Oh, interesting.
What the hell? Oh.
It was Imam Elahi at with Vice President Kamala Harris at a vaccination mobilization event. Very, very interesting.
I mean, these are terrorist supporters. How are they have so much influence within the Democratic Party? I mean, they outright support terrorism against.
Yeah, this is a different Imam, but again, with Obama, with John Kerry again. And you might be asking, like, how does this happen? How does this happen? It's because I think it's a lot of naivety and a lot of ignorance from the Democratic Party. They see a figure that has authority within the Muslim community who is so willing to come and talk to them and so willing to represent the Muslim community and so willing to talk about how the Muslims support their message, blah, blah, blah. Not understanding that they are being used as useful idiots by Iranian soft power assets. Now, wait, I want to talk about that a little bit further. Let me find my notes. Part of the reason why they do this is because sometimes, especially these Shia figures, are so much better at doing this. The Shia figures in the US are very good at tricking Democrats and playing Democrats for a fool. Because what they do, this is part of the playbook. This is part of the playbook, where they talk about how moderate Islam is and what is actually peaceful, and we're against the terrorism and we're against the violence and we're against the oppression, and actually we're for the oppressed and all this stuff. But what they're doing is wordplay that we don't understand, where they're actually trying to undermine Sunni Islam in favor of positing Shia Islam as a more valid, better faith. But we don't understand that. So they're like, oh my God, look, they're so moderate. They're so peaceful. They hate these terrorists. They hate these extremists, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you'll even be like,
Sunni terrorists.
They hate Ibn Taymiyyah. They call him the original ISIS. Like, wow. And it's like, no. You don't understand. It's because they hate Sunni Islam. They played you. They played you.
They say you hate Al-Qaeda, we hate Al-Qaeda. You hate ISIS, we hate ISIS. But when they say terrorist, we're anti-terrorist, they mean Sunni, right? Because when Shia does terrorism, it's not terrorism, it's actually protecting the oppressed. When you see Islamic terrorism, that's Sunni terrorism. I had Imam Tawhidi, for example, trying to explain to us that Hussein, they're selling Hussein to us as an anti-terrorist figure, somebody who was basically fighting the oppressor. They're like, oh yeah, these Sunnis, like Ibn Taymiyyah, yeah, these are the Wahhabis. Oh yeah, evil terrorist activities. Who was standing against them? Hussein. Hussein was standing up against Yazid, and that's why Shia Islam is an anti-terrorist, which is fucking bullshit, because Hussein was the terrorist. Yazid, like his father, wanted to bring a government that was tolerant of all opinions. According to their own, narratives, Yazid Hussein didn't go to war with Yazid because he wanted peace and stability. Hussein went to war to Yazid because he thought Yazid was not going to establish Islamic law. Yazid was going to be secular, more secular, like his father. So tell me, who's the terrorist? Yazid, who wanted to have a tolerant, secular regime and allow the Christians to live the way they want and for people to be able to sell wine if they want? Or Hussein, who rose up against the regime at that point to try to topple it? Hussein was the terrorist. Don't let the Shias sell Hussein to you as an anti-terrorist. Hussein was the terrorist. Repeat after me. Hussein was the terrorist.
Yazid was right. Hashtag Yazid was right.
Hashtag Yazid did nothing wrong.
Yazid did nothing wrong. Yeah, so this is one of those situations where, like I was saying earlier, when there was supposed to be this Shia Imam who gave the benediction, a Muslim benediction at the Trump inauguration, and then it came out that he was actually a supporter of Hezbollah and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, like, can someone find me a Shia Imam in the United States that doesn't support Hezbollah? Like, why is anyone surprised? Like, and actually, I would, if someone can find that for me, please tell me, because I'm actually very interested to know that. I actually am legitimately very interested to know that. But I don't know why anyone is surprised. I'm like, yeah, sounds about right. But anyway, so Elahi is like super notorious for his support for Hezbollah, promoting a lot of this in Dearborn. Now, what people need to understand about the Iranian soft power network within the United States is that there are certain hubs of this influence network with operating in America. And the most important hubs are in Dearborn, Michigan, and they are in Houston. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is it in those cities? That's very interesting. Those are not cities that have the largest populations of Iranians in the United States. You would find that in Southern California or in New York. What's going on there? Well, you'll be pointing out very clearly that there is a strong presence of Lebanese population in Dearborn, Michigan, and a strong presence of a Pakistani population in Houston. So the targets of the Iranian soft power network in the United States is not Iranians. It is Pakistanis and Lebanese, which is why this guy...
Shia exactly. Pakistanis and Shia, yes. Good.
And we have a documented history of the Islamic Republic using schools within that they run. They have funded schools in Houston, for example. They've funded a faith center like this guy's faith center in Dearborn, Michigan, and using that as recruiting grounds for their operations. They have recruited Pakistani Americans into their operations by sending them to this other Islamic university that they operate. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. The Al-Mustafa International University, which has been sanctioned by many, many governments. And we talked about how it got shut down by Germany, PayPal shut down funding to it in Germany recently, because they use Al-Mustafa International University as a recruiting ground to find foreign assets that they train. They often train them overseas. Some of them have gone on to fight in foreign conflicts, or train them to be assets within their host countries, for intelligence gathering. So yeah, I just want to clear that up. I don't know if a lot of people understand that. They're like,
Susie,
yeah, why are they constantly talking about Lebanon? Sorry, go ahead.
What can you explain to us? Why would a Shia mullah in the United States not go to where the Iranians are? Like, if, for example, one area where Iranians in the United States are a lot are in California, Southern California. Why would a Shia mullah, given that he's from the Islamic Republic and Iranian, not go in the United States and target the Iranian community, and instead go find the Pakistani Shia community and, you know, the Hizbullah sympathizing Lebanese community maybe in the United States? Why not go to your own fellow countrymen?
Well, there's two main reasons. One, and to be clear, there is some activity that does happen in Southern California. There's a really notorious guy operating in San Diego. Imam.
Yeah, by an average.
Yeah, but in terms of these hubs, it's like Houston and Dearborn is where it's at. In my mind, there are two main reasons for this. One is that a huge amount of the Iranians in America are the people that were made refugees by the Islamic Republic. They're I mean, Southern California is all like, you know, Persian Jews, Iranian Jews, Baha'is, over huge numbers of Baha'is, Zoroastrians. Like, they are people who are politically persecuted. You know, a lot of
monarchists.
Monarchists, people who fled Iran because of the Islamic Republic. So they're not going to really be that popular. Like in my area, it's a huge.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement. My understanding is that this person, if he goes to that crowd and tries to get a following there, he has to worry about his safety. That's what I think. Like, I'm saying, like, it's not going to be that, oh, nobody is paying attention to me. In fact, it would be the opposite. If you go there and try this, you are going to get a lot of attention, but it's going to be negative attention, and your safety will, like, they might actually crucify you. That's the way how I would describe it. But yeah, go on.
Well, okay, look, I don't know about all that. That's not my experience, but
that's my experience.
I do want to go back to Tehrangelis. They had such good food, but basically, the second reason that comes to my mind is the fact that the Islamic Revolution was never supposed to be about Iran as a nation to begin with. It was never about Iranians as a people. It was never about the many different ethnicities of Iran. It's explicitly anti-nationalistic, right? It's about a global struggle towards, you know, creating the guardianship of the jurists to, you know, keep this land for the Mahdi and all that stuff. So it makes more sense for them to help build the sympathies for their cause amongst different Shia populations all around the world. That's why they have like such strong support from Shia Pakistanis, which is why one thing that just came to my mind is when I remember in Vancouver, Canada, when a bunch of Shia Pakistanis were doing a procession, I think for Muharram, and you know, that's a huge population of Iranians in Vancouver, and they went to go protest this event, like losing their mind, screaming at these people doing this Shia procession, cursing the regime, cursing Hussein, all this stuff. But the people doing the procession look so freaking confused because they're like Pakistani. They don't even understand what they're being screamed at in Farsi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I noticed some Pakistanis that are not some Shias who are not Iranian, when they go do Shia ceremonies, and then Iranians come and swear at them, a lot of them get confused because they were sold. Iran was sold to these people as Shia heaven or Shia central. So they're like, but we're with you. Why you're Iranian? We're fellow Shias. Why you hate us? So some of them, I noticed, they get confused. Yeah, but that confirms what I've been saying. You know, if you tell me that there were a Shia ceremony somewhere in the UK, or in the United States or somewhere else in Europe, and there was a protest against them, I'm gonna bet like 9 times out of 10 that must have been an Iranian crowd that came out and again again, like 9 times out of 10 it must be an Iranian crowd, right?
Dude, one of these videos, what happened in Vancouver, I almost felt bad because it's like this like 8-year-old Pakistani kid just trying to carry his little banner down the street. And it's all these Iranians like cursing him. I'm like, this kid is just like,
well,
why are they so mad?
Yeah, well, it's not against the children. I mean, I remember when the first time I saw Ashura ceremonies in Vancouver, I have a video of that because it was not there before, and then I remember it happening for the first time, and I went there, and I was like, what is happening? Like, this is like, is this Iran now? Like, this, I've never seen anything like that in it, but then now it's the norm. But I remember when I first saw it, I was like, my jaw, I recorded it, I have the video of it. My jaw was like, what the hell? There's a Hussein thing. People are Husseining in Vancouver. Anyways.
So people need to understand that like a lot of these events that happen in Dearborn in particular is really an instance of Iranian soft power. Like about a year ago, there was that incident where there was a guy, Quds Day celebrations. You see Quds Day celebrations in Dearborn. You see them in Houston. That's obviously, you know, a Khomeiniist event. There was at one of these celebrations, the guy that went viral for calling for death to America and all this stuff. That specific guy is literally associated with one of these Islamic centers that does have obvious ties back to the regime. So I think it's just helpful for people to be aware of what's going on behind the scenes in these situations. Like, this is not happening organically, so to speak. Like, this is soft power interference. Someone wishing us Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. And an early Chinese Happy New Year, or Vietnamese Happy New Year to you guys.
Let's quickly do some of the comments that D had highlighted.
Sorry, this comment that D found. Maybe this guy can also be a winner. Jesus.
Oh, that's good. That is good. I love it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
This reminds me of when that guy on CNN, Ryan Gerdusky, made that joke to Mehdi Hassan, being like, "Oh, I hope your pager doesn't blow up," and the whole panel crumbled, calling Ryan Gerdusky racist and all this shit. And I'm like, if you know about Mehdi's, what the consequences of his propaganda, the consequences of his narrative, what he supports, his history of what he supports, it's not a crazy comment to make. Let's be freaking honest here. This person saying, for Shia idolaters, dying and losing your king is victory. Yes, I mean,
I just want to wish them success. Like guys, let's wish these Shias continued victory. Like, it seems, guys, let's actually celebrate this. It seems like our goals are aligned. Okay, if this is what they want, they could consider victory, then we wish them continuous victory, as long as this is what they mean by victory.
If they keep winning, you know, ass over sword this much, they're not going to have an asshole left. Or they might have 5 more.
Oh yeah.
So let's go to the super chats. Gajan is saying, again, happy year of the wood serpent. They have sacrificed their legs so humanity may know good from evil. 66666. And Dave gave a super chat. Thank you, Dave, saying Muslims are fighting against Hindu nationalism, Zionism, white supremacy when they happen to be a minority. They must fight against Islamic terrorism. Wait, Muslims are fighting against Hindu nationalism, Zionism, white supremacy when they happen to be a minority. They must fight against Islamic terrorism. I don't understand this comment, to be honest.
When they happen to be a minority. So basically, I think Dan is saying that they're fighting against so many powers that they are not capable of fighting against because they're just so few. They're low in number and few in power, right? And if they knew what was best for them, they would be fighting against Islamic terrorism, because Islamic terrorism makes other people turn against Muslim. And what betters their condition is not for them to fight against all of these other things, is to better their own condition by reducing Islamic terrorism. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Dan also said Pakistanis are the most radicalized Muslims. Their loyalty is literally to Islam, not even Pakistan. I have seen Pakistanis, don't use Pakis, that's like not a good word. Pakistanis claiming to have ruled Spain, Iran, and India. They also consider all Islamic conquests to be their own. What is hysterical to me is... Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's interesting because even if you were an ethnic identity type of person, none of those conquests had anything to do with Pakistanis. It was like the Arabs did that. But go on.
Yeah. Oh, just Muslims claiming that they're going to retake Andalusia is like one of the funniest things in the world to me. It's my hobby, like farming that content. Dave also gave a super chat saying Pakistanis do not even consider themselves native to the land they live in. They think of themselves as world conquerors from Central Asia. Yeah, which is why they
but let's just be clear. We're talking about Islamist Pakistanis, okay? Not all Pakistanis. We have Pakistanis here that we love and support. You know, for example, we have Waqar here. Waqar in the chat. There's an ex-Muslim atheist.
Young atheist.
We have many Pakistanis. Yeah, young atheists, for example. Yeah, so there are many Pakistanis that we love and we adore, and they're part of our community. So
our friends, our community, Haris Sultan, you know.
Haris Sultan, yes, exactly. Haris Sultan is our favorite Pakistani. But yeah, so we're talking about many Pakistanis who have these issues, but let's just not use the word Pakistani as a way to generalize all of them. Right? Yes.
And then finally, because we're running a little short on time, there was this Muslim guy who was spewing anti-Indian slurs at you. Just some hilarious comments talking about the Shias, saying they are right. Ibn Taymiyyah is a terrorist. Armin and Ibn Taymiyyah are the same.
Is this a Shia? I think
he might be Shia.
Sounds like a Shia.
He took a pause from using Indian slurs against you to call you a terrorist.
Yeah. Okay, let me remove these stars. Okay, guys, do not forget to. Oh, but Mithra is saying Susie's behind bars because of the light you're lighting. A lot of people were commenting on your lighting.
Well, what can I do with my lines?
I think you look. I think it looks cool. I like it. I don't know. Anyways, guys, that was the last news. Do not leave without liking the stream. I do not permit it. Actually, can I say that?
He clarified he's not Shia.
Okay, so what are you? Are you a Quranist? Are you a non? Just stupid then. I don't know. I think what kind of Muslim you are. I think maybe like a non-Shia, somebody who thinks he's a type of Muslim that is above the Sunni Shia divide. Like yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, I was right. Look at this, just Muslim. Right? He said that before. I was so right. Just Muslim. Yeah. Oh, I am.
People like, basically don't know Muslims.
Yes. By the way, he just threw 99% of Muslims under the bus by acting like he's above them, and he thinks like he knows more. That Sunni Shia, it's all just bullshit. Yeah. Anyways, guys, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe here. Make sure you have hit the bell notification. Support us financially only if it makes sense for you, only if you are financially secure yourself. Otherwise, please do not even think about it. And also, yes, by the way, also people who are in Iran, do not financially support us because the government might be able to track you. So that would be also have a security issue. So don't financially support us if you are inside Iran.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. Yeah. But also recommend our channel if it's safe. Do not recommend our channel if it could have a security issue for you. And yeah, so that anything else, Susie? Should we go? We did well. Oh
no, thank you. I had fun. See you next week.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys. Bye.